That big.
Hello, good evening, and good welcome to this very special episode of Xbox Tavern's X-Pod Tavern, episode 172nd. It is the Game of the Year award show, yeah! Rapturous applause from the crowd. And in that crowd this week, we've got MPV Graham. Come on in, MPV Graham.
Good hello.
Good hello to you. How are you? Welcome back.
I would say I'm feeling a bit more refreshed, but that would be a lie. I'm feeling okay, should we put it that way?
Are you feeling okay-ish?
Okay-ish, yeah, that's probably the best way to say it.
Nice. Well, welcome back. Get ready to talk about all the fun games we played this year. Are you excited?
I am excited.
We've got to bring the energy. We've got to keep that energy pumping because we've also got wait, Graham. Have a guess. Has he done it?
What, 3.2 million?
Have we crossed the 2 million threshold? Come on in, million man, possibly 2 million man here.
No, game has been distracting me, so I'm still at the 1.97.
1.97 million man in. Welcome back. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I am very well. Did you enjoy your? I can't remember where you went last week. Now, where did you go last week? Watch football, something, right?
Last week, I did go to the pub, bar.
Oh, yeah, fair enough. Well, we
pub, bar, alcohol, drinking. Who knows what happened?
Great success.
Great success.
Yes. Are you excited about talking about Game of the Year? Our favourite games of the year. Have you got some surprises? I think you have.
Do you know that meme with yay, video games? Nah, I'm looking forward to it. Should be fun.
Yeah, damn right. Scotch Ross, come on in. You're always excited. I know.
Hello.
Look how dapper you are. Look how dapper. If you're not watching on video, you're fucking missing out.
Super happy.
Look how dapper.
Breaking at the tux.
He's got a tux and everything. You look lovely. Are you well?
I am very well, thank you.
Oh, so you can wear the tux, but I can't wear my aubergine top.
You can wear your aubergine top.
I insist you put it back on. I want you to roast.
I give you 10 minutes into the show and you fucking pass out. His auto-tracking camera just follows him on the way down.
And then just focuses on
Can it find me?
Just body.
Body, yeah.
No, it's just the Xbox. It's fucking, as soon as your head moves, it's like, oh, Xbox.
Oh, it's an Xbox.
It's an Xbox Tavern podcast.
I'm sure I'll pass up on Jamie talking about his games as well.
Well, I'm sure we'll all have some fun and games with the games we've picked. And we've also got the man, the myth, the legend, the special guest Pete. He's back 2 weeks in a row.
Hello. Good evening.
Pete, welcome. How are you?
I am fantastic. How are you, Jamie?
I am spiffing. And your brand new Dragon Ball jumper there looks lovely.
Yep, thank you.
Damn right. So we're here. I'm keeping the energy high. I don't know how long this is going to last. I'm probably going to crash and burn very, very shortly. But for now, we're going to keep it positive. We're going to keep going. No extra guff this week. Just Game of the Year stuff. All positive stuff. We've got a few categories to run through. A few extra little bits and pieces to do. So let's get straight into it, shall we, gentlemen? With, I think, probably the collective Project Game Pass Game of the Year. So if you're not familiar, Project Game Pass is where we pick a game from Game Pass each and every month. We play it, we discuss it, we do a stream of it once a month, and then at the end of the month we decide whether it's good or bad, and then we move on and play a new game for the next month. So the games we've had have been a mixed bag, I feel like, but let's just go around. I feel like we're all going to have the same pick here. So I'll start with Ross, and I'll work the way around the cameras as they are in front of me here. Ross, what's your favourite Project Game Pass game of 2024?
My favourite game, to absolutely nobody's surprise, is the wonderful Call of Duty Black Ops 6.
It is indeed. Now, before you get carried away, I'm just going to ask, is this everybody else's pick as well?
No.
Oh, it's exciting. Especially because Pete, what about yourself?
Yep. Blop 6 for me. There were some other front contenders, but Blop 6 went out for me in the end.
Cool. All right, so this is my favorite Project Game Pass game of the year as well. I'm going to let Ross go on what he was about to say, but I just wanted to clear. I wasn't sure if we'd all picked it, but now I'm even more excited. Ross, tell me all about Call of Duty Black Ops 6.
So, in fairness, mine was quite a close contender between a few other games that I won't mention in case they come up later on in the show, but I just never seen myself getting into a Call of Duty game, and the sessions that we've had playing have not only been enjoyable because it's been in a group and there's the back side of that, but because we always seem to perform fairly competently. So I don't know if that's on our behalf or if the game has made it a more balanced experience for people, so you're not getting put in lobbies that are diabolical. But so far, I'm wholeheartedly loving my Call of Duty Black Ops 6 experience.
I feel like I think we mentioned it before, like because it's in Game Pass, it's let a load more people come in who wouldn't normally just buy Call of Duty, and so the skill level is probably a little bit lower than it would have otherwise been. Perhaps, maybe. I don't know if I'm talking about my arse there or not. But yeah, like you, it's been such fun to play. I've been having a great time, and it's one of the ones that I haven't gone back to Call of Duty on my own in fucking years. Like probably Modern Warfare 2, maybe Modern Warfare 3 way back in the day. Whereas this, I find myself just picking up for a quick game here and there whenever I've got 20, 30 minutes to play. And I know especially as Peter's been doing exactly that as well because he keeps sharing his clips of us. Have you been enjoying it, especially against Pete?
I have, and just like you, Jay, for the first time ever, I prestiged myself in a Call of Duty game.
And I think William and Ian joined us in the Prestige Club, didn't you? If I remember rightly.
Yeah.
Oh!
On Friday.
Easy peeps.
I know. It's like Jamie. I mean, like it's the first time I've played an FPS game by myself voluntarily, probably since Rainbow Six Siege. It's the last time I played a shooter voluntarily by myself.
Yeah, it's just fun, and I know that seems reductive to point out that Call of Duty is good because obviously it sells incredibly well every year, and it's been the most popular game for the last 20 years or so, however long it's been. But the multiplayer is, like you said, Ross, balanced to the point where you're never getting steamrolled completely, but you're never really winning by a million miles away either. And the variety of the modes and maps they've got, and the weapons and all the different perks and stuff, I feel like it's the best one I've played for, like I said, for a very long time. Not granted, I haven't played them all, but it's just been a fucking absolute, just a riotous, joyous time to play almost every single day since it come out.
Yeah.
Ross, how far are you in terms of leveling? I know.
I think I'm mid to late 30s in my leveling. Obviously, I've missed quite a few sessions with yourselves. But yeah, it is rookie numbers. I've missed a lot of the double XP, to be fair. But no, like I say, I don't think I've ever, even when I was playing the Call of Duty games, got as high as level whatever I am just now. So it's certainly won me over.
Yeah, and it's just brilliant. Again, it's reductive to say, Call of Duty is very good, but it is very good, and I'm having a great time playing it.
I think it's safe to say, Jay, that none of us would have played the game anyway without Game Pass. So Project Game Pass has worked for us. So for us, as a five-some, like we never would have played it. So obviously, we know millions and billions play Call of Duty, but we're five of the people that don't play it every year. And I think because of Game Pass, we've played it and we've surprisingly enjoyed it. Yeah.
And again, that speaks to the idea that a lot of other people are jumping in, maybe for the first time, or maybe for the first time in a long time, and just having fun and enjoying it. And again, not too many people sort of taking the piss and absolutely wiping the floor of us, and not too many people sort of getting done in by us as well. It's, all the games we played, even now, are still fairly tight, I think, overall. I had a quick game this morning. I joined halfway through, and I think we ended up, it was team deathmatch. I think it's like 100 to like 97 or something, like real sort of sneaky numbers. Really good game. Really good game. Ross, any more on Call of Duty before we hand over to the other two who've got another surprising pick?
Highly recommend it for anybody who's got Game Pass, or even if you're on the fence about sort of first-person shooters, if you want to pick up Game Pass, get a trial of it, I would say that's worth the money just for that. Even if you only pick it up for 1 month, it's definitely worth it for the experience. Even the campaign's really good. Yeah,
campaign's very, very good as well. I enjoyed that way more than I expected to, but It's the multiplayer that's been having me come back over and over again. Especially because Pete, final thought on Call of Duty Black Ops 6?
I look forward to playing more before the end of the year.
Damn straight.
And many more double XP weekends, please. But I'm level 31 again, so I'm kind of already halfway to Prestige 2. So
I think you're not far behind me. I don't think at this point. But
no, I had a good chunk. I had a good 2 hours yesterday morning. The lobbies were a bit. Well, I mean, you saw the picture I posted about the not like in the
Play that fucking objective.
Confirmed and all. Well, it's like people kill and just like I don't mind if people kind of kill from far and leave it, but it was when they kind of killed someone next to them and then ran away from the tag. It's like it's right there.
Pick up the goddamn tags.
I mean, for this, let's say this first Call of Duty I played in Modern Warfare. So the very first mode, time we played it, I was constantly just shooting somebody and running away, and then I'm like, Jay's wisdom words sunk in. Remember the tags. Remember the tags.
These are the tags you're looking for.
I do like some of the smaller maps because they're a bit more carnage and they go.
Oh,
some of the smaller ones.
Yes.
Yeah, especially when they get a shotgun out. That's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, that one in the underground vault, it just fucking just can't.
There's one
can't
like
even
that,
spawn
but it's
without
like in
getting
a hotel building. It's like 3 rooms that you just constantly. I don't know if you've done that.
Yeah, the house one. Yeah, that's
is that the one was that one of the last ones we played the other week? And it was like the guy every time we spawned in, there was a guy waiting for us.
Yeah. It's like you couldn't spawn unless you were next to someone, whether it be your friend or foe.
Yeah.
More often than not, it was foe.
It's a tremendous game. I'm going to ask you two anyway before you give us your picks. Graham, Ian, you enjoying Call of Duty as well, I'm assuming.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. It would have been my number one, but then there's one game that just probably I'll say pipped the post, but also just to be a bit differential, to change it up a bit. I thought I'll go for something else because I knew you guys would pick Call of Duty, or at least one of you, 2 of you at least would.
Yeah. Fair enough. And Graham, you obviously like Pete, not traditionally a first-person shooter fan. Or at least not Call of Duty.
Well, neither, yeah. But it's fun, playing it with you guys is much fun. Maybe because you're carrying me a little bit. I mean, I tried by myself and I still can't get anywhere. So I don't abjectly hate it. I mean, the fact that I even considered playing it separately is probably a win. The fact that I can enjoy it that way. I'm still not that great at it, but it's much more fun playing it sort of with other people. Yeah. And so I enjoy sort of the party play like that. Just wish I was slightly better at it.
Well, practice makes perfect, as they say. And you got all the time in the world with it being on Game Pass. You can play whenever you like, anywhere you like, almost. You can play it on whatever is an Xbox. Yeah. Anyway, right. Let's move on from Call of Duty, shall we? And I'm going to go to Ian next, I think. Ian, I pulled up the list of Game Pass games in front of me, and I'm having a quick scroll down in front of me, and I can't actually decide, although I think I might have just nailed it. You tell me what your favourite Project Game Pass game of the year is, please.
So mine, which just pipped the post, I think it wasn't that one. Unfortunately, it wasn't that one. I know most one else's, but for me, it has to be Power World.
I thought that might have been the case. Power World.
Yeah, I think it's just one of the ones because I'm a huge Pokemon fan, as everyone knows, and when they kind of bought this spin-off games, I just got fully invested in it and I went all in. As we all say, balls deep. I put like 10, 20 hours into it, purely making my base, catching loads of random Palmons and stuff. And just such diversity. In fact, you can ride them, you can throw them if you really want to. In fact, you can even catch humans, which makes it even more hilarious and get in the battle for you. I think all in all, for me, I wanted to be something a bit different because, like I said, I did miss most of November. So I thought it wouldn't be fair if I picked Call of Duty considering I played most of my gameplay was in December. So I thought I'll go a bit different and try Power World out because I've always gone back to it. I keep going back to it every now and again because they keep adding more content into it and more areas, more worlds. So kind of expanding your world and kind of add different areas and bases into it. So for me,
they just announced a new DLC as well to come soon. The game.
Yeah, the new DLC coming, I think, next month maybe. Then again, a new world, new little area. They're expanding the map. So obviously, your existing map will stay. Just they'll expand a bit more. You don't have to start a whole brand new world, which is good. Because obviously, I've leveled most of my Power Monsters quite high up, so it'd be annoying to kind of have to start again from scratch. But like I say, you can make proper good bases now, and I can manage to expand my base quite nicely. And again, my son's kind of got involved in it as well, so kind of nice to play with him as well. So he's kind of helping me out with my base building, even though he keeps building stuff and then destroying it straight away and going, I don't like that, I want to try something different. So I let him to it. So obviously we've got 2 bases kind of nearby each other. So he can kind of go crazy as much as he wants, but it's constantly giving him parts and stuff to kind of help him because I've got so many different like wood and stuff. Because obviously I've got the power mods building it all for me, so it does help out. But yeah, I think all in all, I think that's where the boss battles as well kind of help out as well to make it a bit of a change. And let's face it, you can also get power mods to shoot Uzis and shotguns. So again, can't complain there as well.
I must admit, I did really enjoy our time with this game. It would be something that I'd love to like get into, but I don't have the commitment to do sort of single player like Ian does. But our time playing it was really good.
No, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, that for me, it just has to just a little bit pips to the post, mainly because I had no internet for whole November, so I couldn't really invest in Call of Duty. So
anyone else got any thoughts on Power World to back up Ian's pick here?
Yeah, no, it is really good. I enjoyed my time playing it as well. I got to a point where I captured the super fast dragon one. I can't remember its name, Ray Dragon or something. It's like a long snake dragon time that just turbos when you fly with it. It wasn't the easiest catch, but when you get that one, you can literally tear around the whole map pretty quickly. But it's so quickly that the game can't handle it, and numerous times it just kept bombing out. So that was what hampered my gameplay a little bit with it. I still enjoy playing it because it's just I use that super fast dragon to go from boss to boss to boss. But just occasionally it would just keep bombing out.
Yeah, I remember they had a lot of glitches in the start of the game. I remember one glitch where you could, not sure if you quit resume or something randomly happened where you couldn't save, and the only way to continue saving your game was you have to take a screenshot on your Xbox. It's supposed to be take a screenshot and then you can save. It's like what? Makes no sense.
Yeah,
but it works.
Is it still technically in early access?
Can't be anymore, surely.
Good question.
I'm sure it is.
I think it might still be. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that art game was in early access until when number 2 came out. So
yeah,
didn't they get sort of mini shafted by Nintendo as well? So
yes, they did.
Throw balls anymore.
Yeah, they try to, but I don't think they can survive. Because too many games have throw balls. So it's like, well, there's so many other games out there that do the same. Just because we're successful, you don't like it.
Yeah. But I think they took it out. You can't throw balls anymore in Power World.
Yeah, you can't. As soon as you summon a pal, it just appears beside you.
It doesn't come out of a ball anymore.
Nintendo's lawyers won yet again.
Bastards.
Or Game Freak's lawyers, I suppose it would be. But
yeah.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you very much, Ian, for Power World. I've already forgotten the name of it there. As your favourite Project Game Pass Game of the Year. Get me words out. Graham, again, I'm looking down this list here, and I'm assuming I'm going to just take a wild guess that yours was X-Defiant. Did you hear it shutting down?
How did you know?
No.
I didn't even know it was shutting down.
That's why this show should be more popular. We are at the cutting edge of breaking news.
Exactly. No one's heard it. We're breaking it right now. X-Defiant shutting down. Now go on, tell us your favourite Project Game Pass game for 2024, please.
Yeah, I need that sound effect back. That's the one. Yeah, that was my pick. All you need is help. I've never had any more fun on the Project Game Pass game than this one. We all kind of got well involved in this one. I mean, it wasn't massively complicated, but it's just the sheer fun, frustration, and annoyance you can commit to each other, which is sort of good fun. And the massively memorable sound effects that the game has.
Blocks and you can sabotage people as well, which you love doing.
Oh yes, the good old sabotage. But that's the part of the fun, though, right?
Yeah.
You can't lose the game completely. I mean, you can run out of time and get an extra time, but there is no penalties, and that sound effect.
You can get Ross angry, which always helps.
I don't get angry at games.
Well.
The only downside is obviously you can't play this game on your own. You have to play it with other people, but it's just a sort of a nice sort of chilled game that you can play. That's not massively complicated, but you can easily just annoy your friends with it and just have a bit of fun with it. And
I hate the hockey one.
Plus, it's great to watch Jane and Ian struggle at the hockey game.
Yeah, that was needlessly tricky, that particular round.
Me and Gray didn't find it tricky.
Nah,
still good fun.
I thought that was quite easy.
Yeah, well, I mean, you were against me and Ian. I will reiterate.
But I enjoyed everything about that game. Just simple, great fun, and it was just super chilled, and it was just nice working out minor logic puzzles with each other while sort of having a bit of fun with it all.
Yeah, A bit of like as Pete said, a bit of shenanigans, a bit of sabotage, a bit of banter, but everybody comes together at the end.
It's one of those ones that we played multiple times as well.
It was, yes.
It was, yeah.
It's probably in my top 3 for like the Project Game Pass games. Had COD not been such a resounding success, it would have probably picked it.
Yeah, I think likewise for me, definitely as well. Would have been. It was number 1 until we played Call of Duty.
Yeah. I mean, if somebody had shown me that game and said, like, you're going to put the best part of 10 hours into this game just for shits and giggles, I'd have probably told them to go fuck themselves. But having actually done that, then it was well worth the fact that it was in Game Pass, so we got to experience it.
Yeah,
I'm right. Lots of fun. Just for Pete, did you join it? You joined us for a little bit with that.
I did the one night. Yeah, it was good. It was. It's definitely fun. I'm kind of glad you can't play it on your own. Was it local multiplayer as well? Was it only online?
I think it's local as well.
Was it local?
Yeah. But the only caveat is you have to have 4 players. You can't do it with
that's what I mean.
2 or 3. Yeah. You have to have four players, otherwise you can't play.
You can play with 2.
Yeah, I mean, I think.
Oh, can you?
We're guys.
You see, so the 2 and the 6 control different things.
Oh, I thought you had. I didn't realize you could do 2 player. I thought you had to have.
The more you know.
Yeah,
you can do 2.
We're learning on Xbox.
That's how you got the Chivos. You had 2 controllers, just like.
Surprisingly, I never went back to it. They were all your help with my achievements. Yet.
Yeah.
You got to get to that 2 million somehow. So one final thought, Graham, on we need help. Anything else you want to mention before we move on?
Totally recommend it. If you've got a few other friends and you just want to enjoy a chilled evening, that's definitely a one to pick up and play with your friends, because there's no sort of animosity there. It's all just fun, torment, and banter.
Yeah.
I mean, depending on who you play with, there's animosity.
Oh yeah, well, true.
If you've got a slightly angry Scotsman, then it can devolve in a slight name calling.
I feel like it was fairly evenly spread though. The rage sort of cycled between everybody. Where like, one moment someone was like, "Ah!" and the next moment was like, "Calm down," and then they were like, "Ah!"
At least we didn't have died. Can you imagine? God.
Oh, ladies' favourite. Why is he not here tonight? Come on, ladies' favourite. Jump on in. Tell us all about your favourite games.
Come on, son.
All 2 of them you played. Come on. Come on. Get in there. Right. Excellent. Right. Well,
the noise Dan makes.
That's the
and you played
Game Pass. That's the Project Game Pass section of the Xbox Tavern Game of the Year awards, podcast awards, I should say. Let's get into the top 3. So we've got a top 3 and we've got an honourable mention. We're going to start off with our 3rd pick for Game of the Year. And I imagine we've all got very different selections here. I know my list, and we'll find out what me. So I'm going to go to.
Amy, I think you should go first.
I should go first.
You should.
Wait a minute. I'm talking about booking.
I think we should flip the script and you
do what? I'll go first for 3rd place. And my pick for 3rd place is a game that I only played maybe 2 months ago. Maybe I reviewed it for Xbox Tavern.
2 hours.
Almost all of these games are reviewed for Xbox Tavern, and we'll get into that later on. But my 3rd place pick is the wonderful The Holy Gosh Darn. And now this is a game that's like a 3rd in like a trilogy of games. Basically, it's like a comedy point and click style puzzle adventure. And it's just fucking brilliant. I've got no other ways of expressing that other than to say it's just fucking brilliant. It's funny. The puzzles are really clever. The world that they sort of build is entertaining. It uses a time loop, which I don't traditionally like, but it uses it really, really well. Like the whole idea of it is you play as Cassie of Celerity here on the screen, and she can rewind time up to 6 hours to stop heaven from being exploded by a load of demons turning up. And you can rewind at any time in this sort of 15-minute increments. And the whole idea is to sort of go forward, get an item or get a clue to a puzzle, then rewind time and use that clue to get through that puzzle faster. And then you gradually go from A to B. Instead of taking way too long, you get faster and faster, obviously, as you get the clues and the puzzle hints and the items, etc., etc. But it's just brilliant. It's funny, like I said, like it's got very Kevin Smith style humor. If you've seen like Dogma or Mallrats, stuff like that. He obviously does a lot of religious, like, what's not parody? What's the right word? Basically, just like ripping it apart, especially in Dogma. I know you know Graham.
Dissecting.
Just completely tears the whole idea of religion apart. It's maybe not quite as harsh as he is, but it's very funny and very well written. The characters are brilliant. You can talk to most people, not everybody, but most people.
Baldur's Gate then.
like I said, the way they do the rewind mechanic, like Cassie will talk to someone, and then if you cock it up and say the wrong thing, they won't then give you the hint you need, so you have to rewind time. But rather than you remembering what she said wrong, she'll actively, like the way they've written it, she'll actively remember, all right, I can't say that again, let me try something else. And it's just incredibly clever, incredibly funny, incredibly entertaining, and my third pick for game of the year. Didn't quite make the top one, but it was very, very close. I mean, the whole top 3 here is very, very tight to be fair, but yeah, it's a fucking tremendous.
I don't understand how.
Well, we'll get into that, won't we? Right, that's my pick for third place. I'm going to go that way. No, yeah, that way. So Ross, coming to you next. What's your pick for third place of game of the year, please?
So my games are all very similar in regards to the style of them, and this is probably the weakest of the 3, but that in no way, shape, or form is a slight on the quality of it. And I have went for Dragon Age: The Veilguard. Really loved it. Thought it was a fantastic game. Loved the story of it. Thought some of the companions were really great. Lucaris was like awesome, even though I may or may not have offended him at some part of the storyline. The combat style, I don't know if it was just because I was playing as mage, but from what I've played through in my second playthrough as a warrior with fucking Randy Orton dropkick, it's just as much fun playing it as a warrior. I was the Spellblade for the mage, which was just cool as fuck, being able to sort of dash in and out the action and then sort of rain hailfire down from the sky whenever I needed it. Presentation wise, the graphics were stunning. I was quite apprehensive about it when I first seen it. I thought it had went too animated, too cartoony in regards to sort of the faces and things like that, but the landscapes that you go into are absolutely breathtaking. When you're in Minrathous, which was just on the screen just there, that place is just incredible, beautiful. It's always in a nightscape and it just looks out of this world. Had it not been for 2 of the other games coming out, this would have won it hands down by a country mile for me.
Very, very nice indeed. So Dragon Age Veilguard, I imagine we're going to see this again at some point on this list. Couldn't possibly imagine where. But it sounds, I mean, it does seem to have got a lot of love over the last. When did it come out? August, was it? No. So August, October,
November, end of November.
November. Yeah. Oh wow, where's the fucking time gone? Wow. So it got a lot of love. I know some other people have been playing it, so I'm not going to go around.
It was October 31st, wasn't it? Sorry.
Was it not November? I thought it was.
Yeah.
I have no idea. But yeah, so I'm sure we'll get into it again at some point down the list, perhaps. I guess a wild guess. But thank you very much, Ross. Third place, Dragon Age. The Veilguard. After, was it 10 years? Was it since
10 years? Yeah, 10 long years.
Nice. Well, there we are. So got some Dragon Age finally in our lives. And speaking of Dragon Age in our lives, special guest Pete, I know you love a bit of Dragon Age, but what is your third place pick for Game of the Year?
So my third place pick for Game of the Year was the casting of Frank Stone. I know a couple of us here are a big fan of the Supermassive games, especially the kind of the Dark Pictures kind of universe. This was separate to that and was kind of done in the kind of the Dead by Daylight universe, slightly longer than the usual Dark Pictures, but not as long as the Quarry was. Again, this was just more goodness from Supermassive games. Again, like one of the things where all decisions matter. Some decisions you think are good turn out not to be good. Graphically was amazing. The negative thing about this was there's no multiplayer, a bit like the Quarry. Which is a bit of a shame because I know me and you, Jay, we like playing these through and kind of seeing, what am I doing? What are you doing? And then you kind of second guessing all these things. Another superb entry. They had like a wonderful thing, like a little simple things like the quality of life. Like, a lot of times when you interact with stuff in these kind of games, you're a bit worried about touching the wrong thing because it might progress the story. In the casting of Frank Stone, it made it obvious that you were about to go if the story was about to continue ahead if you interacted with that certain item, which was a much welcome feature. But if you're a fan of kind of Dark Pictures and you haven't heard of this game, we haven't picked up yet, it's definitely well worth it. Fantastic game.
It's one of my meaning to play because I had downloaded it and never got around to it.
I had never actually. I never heard of it, but now that sort of Pete's saying it's the supermassive dark pictures, I wholeheartedly love those games. So that's definitely one to look at.
It's managed to be a horror game, but with no jump scares.
That's the best way to be a horror, to be fair.
Yeah. So
I'm sure I can still jump out a game.
That's why I remember recommending to Ian, because I was like, Ian, play it because it's a horror game, but there's no jump scares. You won't shit your pants while playing it, you know.
It's pretty fucking gruesome.
I'll find a
And
way.
again, I can't remember, but I remember saying to Jay there was like 26 or so possible endings or something. So
holy shit!
I remember playing it once or twice. I remember playing it once with Jay, and we kind of compared notes, and then we played it again a second time round, and we both still got 4 different completely playthroughs, like just doing different things and approaching different things. It's I don't think these games get enough love because obviously I guess it doesn't really class the AAA this game. But it's definitely worth a pick up if you like those kind of like story narrative games where you can interact with the thing and make sure that your decisions do matter and choices have consequences and all that kind of stuff. And Jay's favorite QTEs.
Damn right. I'm very good at them. I think, like you were saying, especially as Peter, the good thing about this one is the quality of life stuff. So you get this thing called the cutting room floor. And basically, you can go back through and see where the decisions like splinter off.
You can see the tree
pathways, and you can also restart from certain, like not every point, but key points in the story. So if you think, "Oh, I fucked up, I killed this person here," you can go back to that point or just before that point and replay it, and you've got an idea of sort of what decisions you might need to make or actions you need to do in order to get around it and see a different idea, a different part of the story. It's a really clever feature, and really, I hope they keep it going forward into. Was it? I've already forgotten the name.
Space game, isn't it? Like
Directive
8032 or something.
That's one,
8020.
And the deaths are lovely and gory as usual. So
yeah, and like you said, some of them come out of nowhere as well.
Yeah, like we thought we'd be in the hero. Oh shit.
But yeah, highly recommended. Well done, Pete. Good choice on that one. I second that one. The casting of Frank Stone. Ian,
hello.
Your turn. Third. I know you've played probably about 1,000 games this year in order to get nearly 2 million gamer score. But you must have had to whittle it down to a top 3 at some point. What is your third place pick for Game of the Year?
So my third pick is actually a game which actually really shockingly surprised me. I didn't think I'd even touch it, but when I did touch it, I couldn't put it down. And that is a little small game called Lightyear Frontier. Lightyear Frontier is a very peaceful, should we say, open world, like farming adventure kind of game, where it kind of shows you on a planet.
Is it fishing?
No fishing in it. No fishing whatsoever, which is not a good thing. But I put it on the planet far, like the far edge of the galaxy kind of thing. And basically you have like a mech and you have to like basically go around, you can kind of build your farm up, kind of collect, you can cut down trees, you can collect water to kind of water your crops. Very nice piece, you can kind of collect animals to grow your animals. Customize your mech, you can make a mech, you can make like you can make a mech to be like a farm, so make a nice little farm animal. You can do like it's really, really niche, like it's hard to explain how to explain it well. But basically, the planet you're landing on is kind of like infected, and you got to kind of go different areas to kind of clear up the infection in certain areas. And it's just a ridiculously peaceful, small little title, which didn't think I'll actually want to play. But as soon as I started playing it, I just literally couldn't stop playing till I completed it. And yeah, so reality is you've got to basically take care of your environment, as you can see in the trailers, where you kind of got to clear out all the goop and stuff, and then you can explore them. There's obviously like a few little side stories there which kind of like explain the situation and what's going on with the actual planet. Again, you can have a group of friends of you. So again, another one which my son kind of enjoyed playing with me and kind of helping me out, kind of putting down crops and stuff. As you can see there, we had a massive farm. That kind of looks similar to what I had laid out there. And yeah, it kind of just a ridiculously kind of small title where you just kind of collect items, manage your ecosystem, and then when you kind of grow your area, you kind of open up more areas because you kind of got to collect more parts to kind of build your mech up a bit more stronger. But you've got to kind of go to different areas first, clear the environment, and then you can kind of collect newer items, which kind of help you kind of improve your item level, so you can kind of create more stronger mechs, but also bigger kind of like silos, so you can store more parts, or bigger houses, you can have a better house, so you get a bit more quality of life sleep. Yeah, really weird game, kind of, but it's kind of this kind of mysterious pollution, which actually kind of got me gripped, and I couldn't stop playing.
You know what? I think if you'd given me 1,000 guesses of what one of your games would have
Yeah,
been,
I never even heard of the other game.
So completely honestly, I get a lot of emails about this game, about different updates they've added and DLC, not DLC, you know, like quality of life improvement, etc., etc. And every single time I'm like, no, just scroll on past it. And I had no idea you were even playing it, let alone enjoying it so much to have a third place pick. Is it on Game Pass? That's why you.
It's on Game Pass. That's the reason. Only reason.
Well, we know what G's playing for the next week.
But yeah, it was just ridiculously peaceful, and like it was just so much fun. I think because obviously did a bit of Stardew Valley, and I kind of thought it was similar kind of esque to that. I think
it's like the anti-Ian game, because you usually like it hard and fast. Your video games.
Yeah,
it's not just the video games.
I'll put it on in a minute. Getting cold. But yeah,
next year it's going to be Farming Simulator 2025.
Not sure go back. That's too slow. But I think I think felt they had the mech. You can kind of explore, make it a bit more crazy, kind of a bit more fast paced in a way, because you had the mechs. You can kind of run around and stuff, and kind of hoover up all the kind of crops and stuff. Yeah, it's just I was going through a weird time when I was playing it, and it kind of helped me distract my mind, and it was very peaceful. Nothing. It wasn't too strenuous. There wasn't any sweats, as my other games are, and it was just nice and peaceful. Didn't have to worry about the story. There was a bit of a story, but like I say, a bit of reading and stuff, so you kind of knew what was going on. But there wasn't any like fast-paced storytelling or anything like that. It was just nice, calming. Yeah.
It sounds lovely. Absolutely not my cup of tea, but it sounds like something that I think a few other people here would enjoy playing.
Yeah, I think I could get in on that.
Yeah, it reminds me of something like Slime Ranch. I know you enjoyed that grade, didn't you?
Yeah, no, I smashed through the first one. I didn't complete the second one, but yeah, I did the first one. But yeah,
well,
it is.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Ian. What's it called again? Lightyear Frontier.
Lightyear Frontier. Yeah.
Very nice, very nice. If you need a little charming, slow, and peaceful game, go check that out. It's Ian's number 3 pick of the game of the year. Graham, your turn now. And I know you've been playing a lot of games this year, but you've been playing a lot of fucking massive RPGs all at the same time somehow. So I want to see if anything's managed to crack your top 3.
Yep. Oh, I think you're right. All 3 of them tend to be RPGs, but not too many spoilers there. But I think that was pretty obvious. But yeah, my third choice one was Flintlock: The Siege of Dawn, and this one I wasn't initially sort of thought it was going to take, because I thought it was going to be very Souls-esque in the way the combat style was, but you can tweak the game to balance it how you want it difficulty wise, so it's not as sort of balls to the wall hard. When I did that, the game opened up way more, and just it just had a lot of things that sort of interest me. It was an interesting kind of story where you're sort of part of a crew that's there to try and take down the older gods that are kind of destroying the world, which you accidentally sort of let loose. And then you sort of befriend Enki, who's like a little dragony wolf kind of god who kind of helps you out. And it's just the way the game looks incredible. Sort of it's fast paced, the combat's really good, and they've done it a clever way. You can't just cheese the fights, you can't just shoot all the way. You kind of have to do combat first to build up ammunition. As you hit enemies with melee attacks, you kind of load up your bullets that way, and then it allows you to do more devastating kind of shot attacks or magic attacks. And yeah, it was just it was a kind of a great playthrough. A lot of good boss battles in there, and yeah, it's just I was surprised at how much I actually enjoyed it, and it wasn't as Souls-esque as I thought it was going to be. And and it was open world, so I love a good explorer as well. So you can go to whichever region you kind of want to do first, so you can play at your sort of own leisure or at your own direction of where you kind of want to go. Yeah, fully loved that one. It was a great RPG, and a different take on it, and sort of the way this kind of combat's done. And I like sort of innovations like that, so it's not just the same game, different story. So they brought a kind of new dynamic to combat, and I was all for it.
Nice. I think did you review this? Have I got that right, or was it someone else?
No, I couldn't. I didn't. I don't remember sort of writing up a review for it, but I couldn't see one on the site. So, not sure it was just the Game Pass one that just slipped us by. But
Yeah, I can't remember, but I tried it. I can get into it, but obviously it won you over quite drastically to get into your third place. Have you? What was I going to say? Was this the one that you said about we changed the difficulty? You couldn't change it back or something like that. Is that right?
If you changed it, it's like if it affects.
Oh no, you didn't get achievements, was it? Yeah.
Yeah, if you changed it. So, but like I said, who gives?
You picked the perfect time to say that because he's not here.
Why do you think I said now?
I must admit, I loved this game. I remember when we were first talking about it, Gray, like obviously because there was the big hoo-ha about if you set it at a certain difficulty, you never got achievements, and there was this whole gatekeeping, and it was like, well, I understand why they've done it. They've tried to make it like a Souls game. Although, as you say, I would say it was like a mini Souls game because it wasn't the same difficulty as a Souls game. I actually really wanted to get into this game, but I got caught up in so many other huge, big games that I've not had a chance to go back to it. But from what I played in it, as you say, it had like the interesting mechanics in regards to like the way you got ammo and things like that, and the whole like parry counter system. It works differently than like an Elden Ring, for example, because there's different ways to parry. It has almost like a Bloodborne Lies of P type parry idea where you can like shoot your gun to parry as such. Visually, it was really nice. I thought it was a really cool looking game. And from what I experienced, it seemed like I had maybe not a 50, 60, 70 hour campaign, but the story had like at least a bit of depth to it.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And no, I'd like to say this game to me was really, really good. And hopefully, now that I've completed another very large game, I have a chance to jump back into it.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it. It's definitely rewarding for me. Just as an RPG fan, this definitely took on my fancy. And yeah, achievements aside, I was all for sort of seeing it through to the end, and it was I totally enjoyed it.
Very nice, very nice. So Flintlock Siege of Dawn, Graham's third place pick. Now then, we're going to mix it up. Graham, I'm going to go back the other way around this time, and I come to you for your second place pick. What could possibly be second on your list in the Game of the Year 2020?
My second place pick has already been mentioned, and it was Dragon Age: The Veilguard. So it's hard to sort of pile on top of everything that sort of Ross mentioned with sort of the graphics of it, the storyline of it, the companions, the
hair.
The hair, definitely.
The hair is
So I thought I was just doing it as a passing comment, but as you can see, a lot of other people made that kind of comment as well, that the hair looks amazing in their game. The actual
they put up a whole blog post about how they made the hair. They were very proud.
I never saw any of that. That's what I mean. I mentioned that, and so clearly it was a defining thing. Because usually you see like really sort of blocky looking hair that goes through the armor, and it really sort of takes you out of the immersion at times. But sort of to see sort of the hair animation so sort of refined, it's sort of a breath of fresh air. Sort of seeing it makes you sort of way more immersive, and makes the sort of the cutscenes and everything else look way more sort of sharper and more lifelike.
It seems trivial, but like they have every right to make a song and dance with it because it is like spectacular. I hadn't experienced it the first time because I went for short back and sides like my hair do, but the second time when I made a character after hearing Gray's rants about how amazing it was, I gave my character slightly longer hair. It's just like, how in 2024 is this the first time where we've seen a game that has like the hair physics that is in this?
It does mean that every time I watch gameplay of it, all I'm doing is looking at the hair.
Looking at the hair and seeing
no idea what that
means. That doesn't clip through the armor. Wow.
That's where it can work both ways, because my second playthrough I played as a dwarf, and I had like the beard going down, and with the armor I was wearing, the beard was just like that in front of my face. So I was like, I can't wear that armor. Right. I can't wear that armor.
Anyway, sorry, we got distracted on my hair. Graham, tell me about what you like Dragon Age about.
So, well, just at the end, add on as the fact that although Ross played as a mage and a warrior, I played as a rogue. So I had a slightly different kind of playthrough as what Ross had, and sort of the same as what Pete mentioned on many pods ago. You kind of wanted to be a sort of take a step back firing rogue rage and
Pew pew.
Yeah, it's not achievable this way because they've done it in a style that your companions don't actually go down, so that all the heat seems to go towards you all the time. So being a rogue that's a distance fire and the enemy's always targeting you means a lot of roly-polying and a lot of arrow shooting. So that was then my minor drawback, was that side of things. But if you made yourself a bit more of a sort of a melee rogue kind of thing, it actually gave you way more kind of joy that way. You got way more damage in combat, and you can make use of the other people's kind of skills to sort of enhance yourself and sort of get health back that way, and do way more sort of devastating attacks as a melee rogue rather than a range rogue. So there's only kind of that minor drawback, and the other one being that there was no level warning on certain areas, where
There
if
is
you
now.
sort of
I've updated it.
they put that in there. They
Yeah,
needed
there was an
to.
update last week where they've now put. I was new going to say this. There's actually an update now where it recommends you to be this level.
Yeah,
of thing
it's
before
so
going.
needed.
Oh,
For God's sake, yeah, that was
Because that was a bit of an omission, wasn't it? Like
it was ridiculous
Yeah.
going in when I was 16 levels lower than the boss in there, and you can see yourself taking millimeters of damage through and just roly-poling for about 15 minutes. I was like, at this rate, I'm going to be here for about 3 hours just trying to beat this thing. And I was right just to go fuck it off and come back to it later, because the reward is just like a mediocre weapon. It's like I'm not even going to use.
yeah.
Like, yeah. So I'm glad they put that in. It needed to be there. So there you go. There's one of my gripes already removed. But yeah, it was every year. The story has always been good in these kind of sort of Dragon Age games, and yeah, the gameplay backs it up, the graphics back it up, and hoo-ha about companion sort of preferences aside, I totally enjoy the game. It's definitely one of the best RPGs of this year.
Very nice indeed. I'm enjoying it as well. I love the title screen. Really, really good.
Just you wait till you get to the character creator, Jay. Whew.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, that's true. I did create my character, but then I stopped it immediately afterwards. And I haven't touched
Because
it
you're
since.
playing with the bits.
Yeah, I just wanted to play with the hair. That's all it was. I just wanted to play with the hair.
He was looking at the bits and couldn't stop.
ah!
Nice. So
Messy's one made.
Dragon Age of Veilguard, Graham's number 2 pick of
Yep.
the year. Wonderful, tremendous game. Thank you very much, Graham. I'm going to keep going around the same way we go backwards. Ian, your turn now. And your second place pick for game of year of 2024, please.
And now we start with the controversy.
Oh, I'm ready.
Oh.
I'm so
Oh,
ready.
what
see
are we
it.
gonna call? Oh.
I'm ready for people to throw some shit at the wall and see what sticks. Come on.
I didn't know what it was, so I didn't know there was controversy. I like it.
So technically, this isn't really controversial, but in a way, people might. But my second game of the year is the World of Warcraft: The War Within. So technically, this is an expansion pack to
Wow.
a game, but it still
Wow.
counts as a new
After
game.
all the shit he gave me for wanting to include DLC, eh?
Oh, you've
Fucking
allowed it.
hypocrisy.
I know. So technically, you've allowed DLCs and all
You've
the
opened the
gubbins.
door.
So I've started open door.
Not
with-
even the Game Awards gave it to Erdtree. God damn it. No, carry on, Ian. So what's it called? Sorry, The World Within.
the War Within.
War Within, right? And this is the latest
War games.
War games. World of Warcraft expansion.
Yes, correct. So they.
Come out this year, I imagine. And what's it all about?
So basically, the primary settings in War Within is in like a new area called Karzalgar, which is divided into 4 different districts. And basically, what they've done now these days is you can go to any of the districts now. So before in the past, you used to go to one area, do all the levels, and then go to the next area and hopefully you're next level. But now it's all kind of level caps, so we've level raises with you, so you can go to any of the area to start off with. So obviously you can go through each of the zones. I can't remember the name of the 4 zones, but basically they've added it. So new expansion pack now is found by the Harbinger, because he was in the last expansion pack basically now. And one of these ladies now called, I don't remember her name, is Zalaf something. She's a bit pissed off, and she basically wants to take over the world and destroy it, as always in all these kind of fancy games. So basically, yeah, it's up to you. And now Anduin, who is now a bit less emo now, because before in the last games he was very emo. He's now kind of gone to want to seek out revenge, and he's now teamed up with Maggie Bondsbeard and Thrall and Lady Jane Primal. So basically, they're going to kind of basically trying to stop her from going crazy, but now she's got a spider army now instead. The funny thing is, well, if you are an arachnophobia, you can actually change it in the game. So instead of giant spiders, you get attacked by giant crabs, which I'm not sure what is.
Yeah, that's better.
Not a massive improvement.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm not sure what's
off
the
being
worst.
just as bad.
Yeah, when I saw that, and I just you can switch it in game, and when I switch, I thought, I think the spiders look better.
Yeah, you get some games where they become just a floating ball. And you're like, I can see the logic. Taking 2 legs off them, probably not.
Like giving them massive claws.
No,
It's just not.
you don't have to worry about it biting you, just fucking clawing your head off.
Oh, oh dear.
So it's quite cool they've got an arachnophobia. But obviously, the bosses don't change, but most of the the ads and stuff and all the little things around the world, they change to massive crabs and stuff, which is kind of hilarious at the same time, but also way more terrifying. When I was playing it, I was like, yeah, this doesn't feel right. This feels even worse than spiders.
So I vaguely remember you talking about this when you were playing it earlier. Did you play it on your own, or did you end up in your guild joining some friends? And
Yeah, so I've got a guild, so I'm still part of the guild, and there's still a few people there. So you got the raids and stuff, which you can do. So obviously I do the raiding with. Obviously you can do raiding with randoms, because now I've got a thing called Raid Finder, which does help. But then again, you can actually just team up with friends. So I think sometimes they raid. Most times they raid on Sunday, around 8 p.m.
Yes!
So I can never really raid with them.
So what you're saying is we're ruining your life.
No, you're not ruining life. Because if I did start raiding again, I'll get too into it, and I haven't got.
Especially if
if
most raids are like 3 to 4 hours if you do it properly.
I wish
yeah.
that.
I mean, that was
like,
that was 10 years ago, so God knows what they're like nowadays.
No, they're
I
about the
wish I was a
same now.
PC player when that came out. Like that looks so much my type of game.
Yeah,
And
it
it's
is.
just like between all the different like lores and races and backstories, it's just like I remember seeing like the adverts for like the Lynch King and like looking at it going, that's cool as fuck. Or when
Yeah,
they had
You look into
fucking
the
Mr.
backstory of Arthas and you think, ooh.
And when you see
Yeah.
Mr. T going, I'm a Night Force Paladin.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that classic ad. Yeah.
Could have
Again, that
cool.
was like over 10 years ago.
That's
as
what I mean,
well.
and I remember seeing all of them thinking, this looks cool as fuck, and then realised you had to pay £15 a month to play it, and I'm like, what the shit?
Yeah, it's about
Now in this day and age, that's completely acceptable, but when that first launched, like, how the fuck am I playing monthly? I've already bought the game.
yeah, it's about 10 a month to keep up. But obviously, it got me back into WoW. They redid Black Rock Depth as well, which is one of the classic raids. So that's kind of one of the new raids, and they also got a new one now, which is Nebula Palace. So that's quite cool. So again, there's already 2 raids going on, and they're always adding content. You obviously got your dailies and stuff, but mainly I kind of just go in, do my raids and stuff, do a couple of the dailies, and do some of the dungeons. So again, it's nice to go back in and out, throughout, like the week and stuff, just kind of play a bit here and there. But it did get me quite back into WoW when it first launched, and I did play a lot before the pre-launch as well. So again, I kind of got my mage, which is my main, Lavitz.
Go, Lavitz.
Good old Lavitz, and then my priest as well for healer, Meru. So for me, I just think I've always loved WoW, and I've kind of fell out with the last expansion, but this one kind of got me a bit more than normal. I don't think I'll go as heavy as I did previously in the years where I actually was proper raiding and spending lots of hours, and even got to the point where I was raid leading sometimes. But I think now taking a casual approach, doing the odd raid here and there, like sometimes they do a raid on the Tuesday, so I do join them raid on the Tuesday, and it's kind of good banter and chat whilst you're raiding, because they've done it all before already, so they know what they're doing. So again, learning on the mechanics and stuff, and it's never an easy game. It's quite a sweaty game sometimes, especially when there's like fire in like 90% of the room, and you can only stand in 10% of the room. You'll go over there quickly, otherwise you die. And lots of one-shot mechanics, which are never fun. But yeah, for me, it's kind of ones where you enjoy it, and I can always go back to it. And it's new ones out, and they've actually announced a trilogy of expansion packs as well. So I'm sure the next one comes out. I think not next year, but the year after. So
What's the level cap now?
Level cap's 80 now.
80?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it's still pretty low. They keep it pretty low still then.
They did an item squish, so they went up to under than 20, and then they went,
Wow.
okay, we can't keep going up, so let's just squish all the levels and go down again too. They did a massive level squish, and then basically, yeah, brought it back down. I think they went down to 60, then last one was 70, and now they're up to 80. I think the next two will probably be 90 and 100 again. Then I imagine they'll do another item squish if they keep going.
I mean, it's not going anywhere, is it? It just, I'm amazed that it's lasted as long as it had, especially when it come out, pre sort of big internet adoption. I know it was obviously big, but like broadband and the idea, like Ross was saying, of paying monthly to subscribe to a game. is now just, well, yeah, that's what you do. But back then, I was the same. I mean, I had no interest in playing anyway, but I was like, I'm not paying to play the game. I don't want to play it anyway. But yeah, it's absolutely madness. But I'm glad you're enjoying it, and I'm glad you're enjoying. I'm going to get the name right. It's on the War Within.
Well, yeah, I mean, like I say, it's got about. I think the last time I did the check, I think when just for I think it was like 7.5 million still play it, or still have active subscriptions to it.
Wow.
The subs are like still going?
Yeah, actually, it's still going. Yeah, surprisingly.
When did me and Ollie make that guild? 2007.
7 it was. We made it.
7.
I was there as well.
The RP PvP realm.
Yeah, still in that way. Yeah.
It's mad.
I'll never forgive him.
What's that?
What was your pet, Graham?
The Murloc. Oh yeah, gonna change his name because
it wasn't politically correct.
When you call your pet Tranixoras, what do you expect?
Was that? Yeah, I remember that name.
Change his name to Lil Fluffy.
Little Fluffy.
Got a Velociraptor walking around called Lil Fluffy.
Oh.
I prefer Little Fluffy. Little Fluffy's nice. It's a cute name. It's a lovely name. Yes. All right. Well, let's move on from WoW then. Thank you, Ian, playing the War Within, second place pick. Let's keep going, especially because Pete, round to you now. So again, you've got a lot of big RPGs, I imagine, on your list. But as one of the major second place, let's find out.
So second place for me this year goes to Formula One Manager 2024.
Sort of an RPG.
It's now in its third year. The 2 previous years, it usually gets to the honourable mentions part, but this year it had to go in my top 3. I still play it at least once a week just to see how my team's going, and with my ADHD brain, I get new ideas all the time about doing things. And obviously this year they did kind of add the creator team feature, so you become the 11th team on the grid. There's 6 different scenarios you can choose from. You've got 5 pre-built scenarios like Hungry Newcomer or Industry Giant, or you've got the one that most people do, which is just kind of like create your own team and create your own scenario. And yeah, it's fantastic. Graphically, I think F1 Manager is the game that made the Football Manager community go, hang on a minute, if the F1 Manager game can look that good, why can't our game look that good? Obviously, FM's more detailed, but this is as detailed as it could be for like a spreadsheet manager game. You know, there were so many new things added this year, like the mentality system, meaning that you couldn't just sign anyone. You know, this year, you know, obviously every year you kind of improve on your mechanics, and this year, you know, the AI teams were actually proactive in trying to, you know, if you tried to steal their staff, they would obviously try and renew it themselves. They might even try and poach your staff on drivers. New things this year were like affiliate drivers, so you could snap up a youngster and train them up in your academy rather than just letting them rot in the free agents. Yeah, I've done loads of saves this year with this. You know, I've created loads of new teams. And it's very, you know, no save is ever the same. A lot of that is down to, like, in real life, obviously this game mimics real life. In real life, a lot of the drivers' contracts were out at the end of the year. And so each year you get just almost like a jumble sale of drivers going everywhere, you know. And I loaded up my save today just to prepare, just to get some names and just to put a few teams out there. Well, I recreated Lotus, like 2013 Lotus team that I think Raikkonen and Grosjean used to race in. But Red Bull have got Verstappen still there, and they've got Carlos Sainz. Mercedes, this is how kind of I say about the dynamic AI, right? Because the AI will spend money, right? And in season 2, Mercedes had like Bottas and Alonso on like really big money contracts, and they upgraded their facilities. And now year 3 starting, they've actually run out of money. So they've had to do 2 kind of youth drivers. One called Victor Martins, who's, I mean, for example, Max Verstappen is like 93, 94 rated. He's at the top end. You know, this guy, Victor Martins, was only like 77 rated with Mercedes. And Mercedes did actually employ the first ever Formula One driver, a new gen called Maslin Sieber. Unfortunately, she's rather trash. She's only 58 rated. But it shows you the kind of the dynamic AI of, oh shit, they spent too much money, so they can't now afford the drivers they want. Aston Martin had Perez and Bottas. Williams have got George Russell and Lawson. And, you know, Frontier is one of my favorite, you know, devs these days. You know, they're a development team that always listen to their fans. and like the feedback. And obviously, years they've kind of improved this game based on kind of player feedback. And even like mid-November, we got another update with some more features, like new features, unannounced features. We've now got you can now do pit lane starts. So there's a thing in the Formula One called Park Ferme. So when you set your car up at the start of qualifying, once you go out in qualifying, you can't then reset your setup, so you can't tweak it at all. But now you can. But obviously, you do that, you break the Park Ferme rules, and you can do a pit lane start. So that's been added. Driver development has now got a new thing where you can focus on obviously improving as a driver, but you can now get them to help your car development. So they'll speed up the process of like new research parts or development for current parts. And marketability, which is another new feature this year. You can now get drivers to kind of improve the team's money, improve your marketability, which means more money comes your way. And other things like team suitability is a new thing as well. So if you are my team, for example, I scouted Max Verstappen, but it didn't recommend him because it was like pros, driver rating would improve, cons, too expensive, has a long contract. And also one of the things about obviously Frontier listening to people. At the end of each year, you know, you've scrimped and you've saved and you've got yourself about 25 million to kind of cross over to the next season, to kind of help with your pre-season R&D and stuff. 20 million of that would go straight away to pay for the engine. And a lot of teams, AI teams, would then go into debt, like minus 8 million, and it would be an uphill battle. So they've now staggered the payments over the year rather than run one lump sum. But yeah, I don't know how much more highly I can speak of F1 Manager. It's a fantastic game. Obviously, there's rumors out there this could be the last one. Because unfortunately, like I think I've said before on the podcast, like last week when I had that rant about F1, you know, F1, obviously it's a global sport, but unfortunately when it comes to the video game industry, it's more of a niche. So even as amazing as this game is, you know, you're not going to get real world translation like football or American football. So it does mean that sales aren't as good as they can be, and you know the F1 license isn't cheap. So, you know, obviously nothing's official come out, but if this is the last entry in the F1 Manager series, what a way to go out! It's superb, and anyone that likes a F1 Manager / spreadsheet manager, go for it, because it's not even expensive. It's like 30 quid, and yeah, there's so many things you can do with it. You know, like I said, with Create a Team, you can just pick 2 drivers. So obviously I picked 2 youth drivers to grow, but if you do want to pick a team like Xbox Tavern, you can go, right, okay, I want Hamilton and Verstappen in my team, so you can just do that. You know, if you just wanted to kind of go glory hog and had the 2 best drivers, you can do that. So yeah, that's F1 Manager in a nutshell. I know I've spoken a lot there. I've said a lot of words in a short space of time.
So if this is the last one, can you see yourself just playing this game for, like Ross has done with Football Manager 22 or whatever one it is he's playing, just over and over again for years and years?
Absolutely. You know, because the seasons don't end. I've seen someone, they simmed forward 30 years and drivers still regenerating and all that and stuff. So it's probably not infinite, but you can keep yourself busy. And of course you can change teams at the end of the season, so you don't have to stay with your team. So you're not just stuck with one team. You can just go to another team if you want to do that and build that team up, or take another team to glory, that kind of thing. So yeah, there's so much to do, and if it is the last one, it would be a shame. But there's lots of things that you can do to kind of keep you busy and scratch that F1 itch.
It sounds like if you're into that sort of thing, you're going to get into that sort of thing. Full aubergine, should we call it? Thank you very much, Pete. Second place, F1 Manager 24. That's an impassioned speech. Come on, Frontier. Come on, keep Special Guest Speak going. You got to get more games out.
Just for me, release it just for me. For you. Come on.
Just if you sell one copy, it's worth it. It's worth it. Nice. All right. Well, last but not least, Ross, second place pick for Game of the Year for 2024. I know you play a lot of fucking shit, but I can't think what shit you would have played. So go on, tell me.
What do you mean I play a lot of shit?
I'm just getting in the.
It's firing shots already.
Fucking blasphemy.
What's slagging you off?
I'm getting the digs in early.
Holy
it gets back to
shit.
me, and I feel like I'm gonna be fucking done in
So-
the front center.
I am probably going to shock a few people on the podcast.
I'm ready to be shocked.
But my number 2 pick
Wait,
is...
it's gonna be a PlayStation game, innit? Oh no,
It's not. It is...
Is it
I'm waiting
Shadow
on
of
the
Earth?
trailer coming up.
Is it? Has he done it? Has he beat Jeff
The
Keighley?
video doesn't work. You screwed it.
It's not a fucking
It's a
video.
black screen. It's
Is
not.
it Alone in
There
the
we
Dark?
go.
Elden Ring Shadow of the Erd Tree. Now, I can imagine, given the fact that I talk about it most weeks on the podcast, most people would have suspected this was going to come in number 1. But it has been pipped after a recount, shall we say. Earlier on today, I had to have a reworking of my list.
Considering of your life priorities, yes.
I mean, the difference between this and number 1 is a ball hair. Like, literally, depending on what day of the week you ask me, it flips. Shadow of the Tree, it didn't change anything. So I don't know if that lessens it, like the whole Cyberpunk changed shit. It just kept the same formula. It added in a different sort of leveling system where you had to get certain items to make your character stronger, but the depth of the lore, the landscape, the different arenas, environments that you went into, the new weapons, some of the enemies, the sense of achievement that you get when you beat those enemies, it's just, it's one of these games that, although there's different endings in it, and I know Pete will definitely agree with me on this one, it's one of these games where I wish I could forget ever playing it to play it again. I can imagine that'd be like his Mass Effect experience. I have never thought that I could get into a Souls-like game, and this has consumed my year. I think I'm well over the 300-hour mark in this game. And I
you did more than me. Like, I got frustrated at one boss, and
I mean, I don't platinum games. I don't 1000G games, especially not a Souls like. And I platinumed them, like, got on this game. Like, that is how much I've done. I completed DLC the other week. I beat Consort Radahn yesterday. I went and did the rest of the bosses. There is nobody left standing in the DLC. I've bet Bale that you see on screen just now. I have beaten every boss in the game. And I want to do it again. And it sounds sadistic. I must have easily taken 60 plus attempts to kill Consort Radahn. And when I'd done it, I have never let out such a guttural scream in all my days. But as soon as that last little health disappeared and he collapsed in his knees, I was almost in tears. But it's just, everything about it is just breathtaking. The world, the gameplay, everything. And I cannot recommend it highly enough, regardless of whether you like Souls-like games or not.
I'd hear so much good stuff about Elden Ring, and I just cannot bring myself to do it. I'm
Jump in a co-op with me.
I'm sure I would love it if I was to get to it, but
I am going to break the sacred rules of the podcast, and I'm probably going to get kicked out, and I apologise, but multiplayer Elden Ring is coming out, and it's going to be amazing.
I might do it. I might go back
that
to
might
it if you help
change
me.
it.
Sorry.
It's
I know we were only meant to do
as
Game
well.
of the Year, but that was too exciting for me. Cold down.
we can talk about the excitement of the Pretend Game Awards next week when we get back to our regular show and talk about the end of the year and stuff. But yeah, multiplayer Elden Ring sounds slightly more appealing, if only because, as ever, multiplayer improves everything.
Carried!
But yeah, I will need carrying heavily. I will be a dead weight and then some.
Yeah, Ross can lead the charge and mean you can just hold hands behind him, Jay.
Yeah, skip
I'm
along.
all for that.
I think, Ian, you're the only other one who's played it here. Well, Elden Ring anyway, not necessarily Shadow of the Earth Tree, but are you tempted to get back into it if you can get Ross to hold your hand?
Only for that one boss, and I might be try again.
What
But
boss?
yeah, I think I remember the boss, the two gargoyle
first one.
bosses. Not the first one. I did that.
Oh, the
I think
two of them were like one spawns in and then one comes in later in the fight.
Yeah.
Ah, yeah.
I got
Prostate,
stuck
I
there,
did
man.
that with one hand while my eyes were closed.
Blindfolded. Small person alert. Oh, snuck away.
On my side. Oh, on my side.
Oh,
Hey.
you.
All right, you carry on talking about Elden Ring
So we all
while I say
checked.
goodbye to these people.
Anyone was like,
It's your
I
turn.
can see my door, so I can see
I
it
know,
coming in.
yeah,
I'm all right.
if it was mine that's 2-year-old behind the baby gate, I'd be fucking terrified.
Ross,
Jay's like, no
tell me,
distractions. And then he's like, going,
tell
I've
me-
got to go now.
tell
Yeah,
me
bye.
why Shadow of the Erd Tree deserves a mention in Game of the Year list when technically it's a DLC. Tell me all about it.
Because I spent near on 100 hours in this DLC, and I think if you spend 100 hours in the DLC, it's basically a new game.
Yeah, I mean, it counts for Game of the Awards. And like we said, it counts for Game of the Year awards.
Yeah,
So
and
we'll allow it.
it's not 10 hours. It's not like even some of the greatest like DLCs that I've ever played, like Blood and Wine or Hearthstone from Witcher, outstanding. Even the Citadel DLC from Mass Effect, outstanding. They were compact. They were 10, 12 hours max. This is, like I say, I've spent 100 hours in this DLC quite easily. So if that's not value for money and essentially a second game, I don't know what you could really class it as.
And all the stick I got last year for Cyberpunk.
So it's way worth than Elden Ring.
But I cannot recommend it enough. I know not everybody's Souls like people.
No.
I know you had your disagreements with the game, but just
I,
like
I,
even
I appreciate the quality of the game. It's like a
Yeah.
really.
Well,
I say I played
after-
a lot of it. I stuck in like maybe 40, 50 hours. But then I got stuck at that boss, and I was like, I don't know where I need to go next. I'm stuck at this boss. I really can't get around it. And then I just changed another game and then never went back to
Yeah.
it. It's one of the things
I mean,
where you get don't if you and I could go back to it. If my microphone stands still.
might try to knock you out.
Yeah, I could go back to it, but in the same breath, I just think I could start learning the curve again.
What level were you when you completed it? Because our friend Adam played it, and he said he did the Shadow of Eld Tree, and he said he said that he made the mistake of deleting or resetting his character was level 400 or something. And he tried to complete it with his level 200 or something and couldn't do it or something. Something similar. It might have been 200, but it got deleted or something. I don't know. But what level were you when you completed the DLC?
186.
Oh, okay. I can't remember what. Maybe
So
it was.
this is what I was saying in regards to the game mechanics. So in the base game, your level is what affects your stats, obviously. In Shadow of the Erd Tree, you get 2 new materials. You get Scudetree fragments, which bolster your stats. So you get extra stats by picking up these fragments. So your level doesn't affect it as much as your Scudetree fragments do. So, for example, the final boss, Promised Consort Radan, I tried to fight him when I had like 4 or 5 Scudetree fragments and was getting my ass handed to me, like annihilated. And because I'm such a high level, you're talking 250,000 runes just to go up one level. So I wasn't like battering up the levels throughout the DLC. But by getting more of these Scudetree fragments, I ended up, I think it was like level 13 Scudetree fragments. And that's where I bet them. So they definitely make a massive difference to the game. But your level in the DLC doesn't affect it as much as those do. And then the other one is in the main game, you've got your spirit summons, whereas like you've got your mimic tier or your jellyfish or whatever it is, depending on how far you are and what you've unlocked. And you can level them up to a level 10. But in the DLC, you get a revered spirit ashes, which bolster the strength, the HP, the FP of your summons. So again, the more levels you put into that, the more they survive throughout the DLC. So you really have to go and collect those items to make it through the DLC, not really worry about levels as much.
Yeah.
Cool.
But
So I was trying to drag it out while Jamie got back, but he's still not.
he's taking a fucking day and age.
Jay, what's your number 2? Jay!
I think
Jay,
because
hey!
Jay's disappeared, I think we
He
should
says he
Have you
can't
got-
hear us, so he should come busting through the door in a minute.
Have you
but-
got top 5 while we wait for Jay?
Should we go
I mean,
to
I'm
honourable
actually-
mentions while we
I'm
wait?
actually raging. I forgot about fucking Flintlock because that game was incredible. But it does make sense for us to, because we got Jay's. Did we get Jay's number 2? No, we've not. We're still waiting on Jay's
That's
number
he's
2.
the last one before we go on to the next.
Fuck
next
yeah, no, I mean, I could talk talk for another hour about Elden Ring, but I feel like all
We should
three of
move
you
on
will
to
fall
honourable
asleep.
mentions at least,
Do
and
you
then
wanna
we
do your
can-
No,
honourable
we can't do that. We can't miss G's number 2.
But he can then do two at the same time.
You can do
Jay's
2
doing a
honourable
number
mentions at the
2.
same time.
So what? We do his last honourable mention, then he does number 2.
Yeah.
we'll do
Or
that.
2, then he's honourable mention.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
we might as well keep the circle going and go back the way. So my honourable mention for a number for which would essentially be in my top 3, and the only reason it hasn't made it in the top 3, and I don't know if this is the same for somebody else that's put it in their honourable mention, I just simply haven't put enough hours into it yet. So mine's is Indiana Jones, and I know because I've got the lists that there is a couple other people who have also got that on their list. I'm really enjoying it so far. I have just finished. Sounds terrible, but I've just finished the first area, the Vatican. But I have done all the quests for it. I've collected all the collectibles. I've pretty much worked through a checklist of everything you have to do in the Vatican, and I'm loving it. Troy Baker has smashed Harrison Ford. He sounds like
Oh, he
spot
sounds
on.
brilliant. Even my miss was saying is that actually Harrison? I was like, no, I don't think. No, it's not. And I literally have to look up. Oh my god, no, it's Troy Baker. Of course, it's Troy Baker.
He's done
Absolutely brilliant.
incredible work in regards to the voice.
He's done some brilliant work in anything. I was looking up what he's done. So another games and bloody hell.
Oh, he's an incredible voice actor. Between him, I think you've got him, Nathan Fillion, and what's the boy Matthew Mercer? Is the other one that's?
Isn't, is he?
No, he's not. I mean, just in general, when you think of voice actors,
Sorry.
but Troy Baker is incredible. The visuals of Harrison Ford looks brilliant as well. I'm kind of hoping his dad's in it and it's Sean Connery, but I haven't got that far enough to find it out. But I highly doubt that's going to be the case. But no, so far the Vatican era is fucking huge. Some of the puzzles in it are outstanding.
puzzle. Yeah.
I think the only thing that and it might not be a recurring theme, it might have just been because it was in the Vatican, there was one wee part that niggled at me, and it's when you've got the father that you're friends with and you go into the library, you've got 2 sisters standing at the bottom of it and 2 priests the level up adjusting a picture, and every time, no matter how long you've been in the Vatican, those experiences never change. They still talk about Father Antonio and they still try and arrange the picture so it's straight, and I'm like, I've been cutting about the Vatican for 12 hours, why the fuck is this still the same? And that is so far the only downside I've got with the game. Oh, and the fact that climbing is slow as fuck.
It's not too.
He's no Nathan Drake.
But no, he's not scampering up shit like fucking Mirror's Edge. But that's the only sort of down. No, that's the only downside I've got in the game so far. I am absolutely loving it, and had I managed to progress a bit further through the game, it would definitely have cracked my top 3. But I don't feel like it's fair, given the fact that I'm still in the first area, even though I have put probably double-digit hours into the game so far.
So I obviously will join in and say that it's also my own mention. So us going round again to me repeat the same thing. But I agree. I'm sorry, Graham, but you're going to hate it because it's lovely stealth heavy.
Ooh.
Stealth for the win.
Stealth heavy. It's beautifully stealth heavy.
Yeah,
and I know how much you hate yourself. So, but that's what for me. That's what I'm going to mention as well. Again, I've probably put in 20, 30 hours in it at the moment. Maybe 20 hours. I always say that's a bit too much because obviously I've been going around doing all the collectibles. I'm way further than you. I won't see any spoilers. I'm in the fourth area. Fourth area. Yes, I'm trying to count back which ones I've done. And yes, so the 4th area. I think I'm not sure how many areas they are because it seems to be keep on and on every time I think isn't it the end? No, it's not.
Yeah, it's when Jay put out the other day, when he was messaging saying it was, what did he say it was in regards to duration? And I looked at it and I was like,
I think it was 30 hours. I think it took him.
I thought he said 10.
Yeah, that's what
30.
I thought he said.
No, it was 30, I think you put.
It couldn't have put 10. It must have been 30 because I'll put in about 15.
Because he started it on the Friday and then I think he finished it by Sunday night, hadn't he? I think.
He must put a lot of hours into it then. But yeah, but then maybe he just focused heavily on just a single player, maybe because obviously I'm doing all the side stuff, all the side quests, all the puzzles, all the collectibles. And yeah, I think like I say, it's a perfect amount of stealth. and the perfect amount of story. Again, I'm one of those people that has never watched any of Indiana Joneses.
Exactly the same.
But I still kind of know what's going on in the story. I can still kind of understand the gameplay and what's going on. There's one, actually, you mentioned about one bit that really annoying. There's one bit where you're with your character, shall I say? I won't give any spoilers. And you've got this stealth bit, and obviously you're creeping through so that the guards don't see you. And then there's this hallway bit, and I was hiding behind some boxes. But then she was just crouched in the middle of the hallway while the guard walked right past her. So I was like, "What the fuck's that?"
Immersion breaking.
that kind of ruined it on the spot. I was like, "Oh, for God's sake!" And that's like that. When we go, no, that's why it's going to come. Honourable Mentions.
But would you rather that, or would you rather her just get in the way and make you get game over every 5 seconds because she can't hide?
Well, I prefer her just to fucking hide.
These are not the archaeologists and journalists that you're looking for.
Yeah, exactly. It's just funny. It's just like literally, I was hiding in this corridor. I see the guard coming. I was like, "Oh, hide behind this box," and then she just crouched. And obviously, when you crouch, she crouches. When you stand, she stands. So I was crouched, and she's just crouched, crouching in the middle of the hallway where the guard just walked right past her. Didn't say a word.
What's gameplay like? Is it first person?
Yeah, it's all first person. Yeah. Apart from like when you're rope swinging, that's when it kind of moves into third person. But then as soon as you jump off and go like back into the land, it goes straight into first person again.
So can you stealth kill with your whip?
You can't stealth kill whip, no. Not I found it
What if you can't stealth kill?
How do you stealth kill with a
whip
whip?
noise 2 string.
You can't even stealth kill with your fist. You have to get like a weapon. Like
you have to get a weapon. I've discovered that. I was fucking annoyed at that one.
Telling me you can't kick them off the top of a tower.
You can push them.
You can push them off. That's funny.
You push them off tower, and they go, and start talking like, "Oh my God, help me!" It's like, "Oh, what happened there?" Oh, never mind. And then that was like, like God, because he's like shouting, "Oh, I'm gonna put it." And the guys go, "What was that? What was that?" Oh, okay, don't know.
Yeah. So to confirm, Jay said he put about 30 hours roughly into it.
Okay.
Oh, how's that for timing?
Yeah,
However, 30 hours does seem short, to be fair, because like I'm looking at it and I'm like, if I've spent double digits in the first area,
James much of an explorer.
Yeah, I don't think he's streamlined it, I would say. But we could be wrong because Jay, honourable mention.
I'll skip over to the honourable mention. I'm terribly sorry. It was an emergency. Right, so honourable mention. I'm assuming you guys are talking about Indiana Jones and the.
We are indeed, yes. We thought that would tie in nicely for you.
That was a fucking tremendous video game, which just about missed out on the top 3. So, like Ian was saying, I think I was half listening while I was dealing with upstairs, but stealth is a bit annoying sometimes. The characters sometimes get in the way, or it doesn't react how you respond, but how you expect. Sorry, but the overall theme, the setting, the open world-ish areas that have got loads of stuff to do. It's just tremendous. It's such a fun video game. I explored. I think again without spoilers, there's more than a few like big open zones, and I did probably like 60-70% in each one. I didn't do everything because a lot of it was let's find fucking 10 little tokens.
Medicine bottles.
I'm not interested in doing that. The medicine bottles are actually helpful because you could
because you get skills.
But there's some like ancient artifacts you can find, which I'm not finding all them. Fuck that. And there's a couple of side missions which I wasn't really interested in. I didn't even. Well, actually, I did attempt one of the boxing rings. I don't know if any of you guys have got there yet.
No.
Spoilers.
The final boss
I was trying to say little spoilers, and Jay's like all in on spoilers.
Yeah, just fucking.
Well, no, I mean, they
blows his load out of the camera. Well, Jay, before you continue any further, seeing as you weren't listening, seeing as I'm the furthest back, I will let you know where I am, so you know to shut your mouth about stuff in future.
I mean, they did reveal the boxing rings in the fucking pre-release stuff.
I don't watch pre-release shit. I just play games. I am still in the Vatican.
Sounds like a you problem. Mm-hmm.
So I am still in the Vatican, but as I was saying, while you had disappeared for a while, I am pretty much going through and doing an Ian type playthrough and collecting everything, doing all the side missions, getting all the collectibles, X, Y, and Z. So I have probably put in about 12-13 hours all within the Vatican.
Yeah, and that's easily done, I think.
Oh yeah.
So if I hadn't have had, because I was reviewing it, if I hadn't had the sort of the incentive to try and get through it at least, I probably would have spent a bit longer in the Vatican. But also at the first few hours, I wasn't really sure what to expect. I didn't expect the open zone and like all the loads of side missions and all.
I was expecting it to be a bit more linear. I wasn't expecting it to be A to B, but I was expecting it to be more a couple of puzzles, a couple of like side routes where there was collectibles and things like that. I don't want to say Gears of War, but you know what I mean in regards to you have to get to a destination, but you can branch off to find certain things. I wasn't expecting it being like, right, you're in St. Peter's Basilica, there's the whole of the Vatican, go and look.
Yeah, I did not expect that at all either. And the fact that it's sort of almost immersive sim type, so outside of a few examples, you can pretty much go wherever you want, however you want. So there's one mission, again, I won't spoil it if you're not there already, Ross, don't worry. But there's one mission where it's like a side mission. We get to rescue someone who's been captured by the Nazis. And I went in a way, and then on the way out, I found like 3 other ways you could have possibly come into that room.
Yeah.
I know which one you mean. I did the same,
I was like, I didn't even know this was here. That would have been much easier. And then the same thing goes forward, again, no spoilers, but throughout all the other areas you go to, there's so many possibilities
into an area,
either sneaking in or fighting your way in or finding an alternate route or stuff like that. Again, the stealth is not tremendously great. The enemies, like I feel like the Nazis' patrol routes are basically, there's a wall over there, I better make sure it's still standing. So like, oh, there's a wall over there, I better make sure that's still standing, and then just like face into the wall all the time. But yeah, the combat's good fun. I enjoyed the melee combat and using the whip. The gunplay's fucking dreadful, but I think that's probably intentional because the idea is to get into fisticuffs and whip out your whip, as it were. And exploring, again, I don't want to ruin it, but later areas that you get to, they're massive, but also there's everything to do is quite close together. So no matter which way you go, there's always something you'll sort of stumble across a side mission or a little hidey hole with some extra hidden collectibles or side extra missions, etc. And it's just a brilliant game, left, right, and centre. I think a lot of people are focused on the fact that Troy Baker does a tremendous Harrison Ford.
Well,
Indiana Jones.
We discussed this while you were away, and we were like, me and Ian were blown away with like how good Troy Baker is as Harrison Ford. He is like incredible. You would genuinely not know that wasn't Harrison Ford, and the visual stuff for him as well. Just it completely sells it that you're essentially playing as Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones, to me at least.
Yeah, and it does feel like, again, you might have touched on this, I'm not sure. It does feel like a movie from that time period.
Oh yeah,
you've just extended out massively because it's huge, but the way it's shot, the way the sort of not in jokes, like gags and silly sort of comedy bits and all that, it's brilliant. And again, I don't want to spoil anything coming up, but later on, it mixes that sort of open world exploration bit with some fucking tremendous set pieces, one of which they've sort of teased in the pre-release stuff. Again, I'm not going to ruin it for you, Ross, but what happens after what they've teased is just it's just like a spectacle. It's just like the proper action movie. Like, this is awesome, and I died many times trying to complete it. But
there's quick time events.
It wasn't quick time events as such, but it's brilliant, and it goes some strange places, but again, all fits within like the Indiana Jones sort of cinematic universe, if that's the right term.
I think the best, one of the best things that I've seen is the opening. What do you call it? Prelude. The opening, where you're basically doing the most iconic mission, the golden idol, and you're swapping it over for the bag of sand type idea. Everyone knows the scene.
Yeah, that iconic scene. Yeah, prologue.
Yeah, even like I've never seen the films, and I know that scene, and then being chased by the big boulder and things like that.
Yeah,
like I captured a screenshot of that, like literally the bit where he's like got one hand next to the idol, the bag of sand in their hand, ready to swap it over. And when you put it side by side with the movie image, it's like this is incredible.
Yeah.
Like how like for like they've managed to do this. Yeah. I mean, tip of the cap to them. I'm not a big fan of Indiana Jones in regards to I've never seen the films, but when we were discussing it, obviously it being sort of the Wolfenstein guys that have done it, and we know how great their video games are. My expectations were high based on the Wolfenstein games, but I said while you were away, Jay, had I managed to put more hours into it, it would have been in my top 3. But because I'm still in the first area, as much as I've been in depth with it, I didn't feel justified making it crack the top 3. But like if this game had came out 2 weeks previous, it would have probably been maybe not one, but it would have probably knocked Shadow of the Erdtree down to number 3, and that's very high praise that I can sing for it.
I think it coming out when it did sort of did it a bit dirty in terms of the Pretend Game Awards at Jeff Keighley.
Correct, yeah.
Because if it had have come out, like you said, a few weeks earlier or a month earlier, whatever I think it would have been maybe not necessarily one game of the year, but it definitely would have been in the running for.
Oh yeah, it would have been in the
awards.
category.
Yeah, and probably like best performance, the award. I can't remember who won that one in the end, but there was a few in there. That's like, Indiana Jones definitely would have tipped that one, as well as best adventure, action adventure game, etc., etc. On that scene you were saying, Ross, the opening where it's recreation of I forget which film it is now. But of the scene, like I said, with the boulder chasing and stuff. My wife is a massive Indiana Jones fan. She was sitting next to me and she wanted to watch as I played it, just so she could sort of see how it compared to the films. And she was sitting there like going, "Oh, this bit coming up now, yeah, shot for shot." And she was like reciting the dialogue to me and telling me what's going to happen. I'm like, I've seen the film, I don't remember it. She was like word for word. telling me what was going on. She was loving it, and she ended up watching me play through the whole game, which is a very rare occurrence. And yeah, she loved it from start to finish as well. A brilliant bit of game that, as you said, if it had come out just a little bit earlier, probably would have got a lot more love and acceptance, I think, from across the board. I realised I missed quite a chunk there. I know Ross played it, Ian's played it, Graham and Peter, you guys played it?
I still haven't played it. Do you think they did it on purpose because of the backlash they got with games like Starfield and was it Redfall? Do you think they did it on purpose in case people didn't like it?
I feel like I've read
not trying to throw some
somewhere that
in there, but
I've read somewhere that it always seems that they don't know what they do. Like they thought Redfall and Starfield were going to be these huge hits, and they sort of missed for a lot of people. And they're like, well, Indiana Jones, I don't know, I'm not sure. And then it come out, and everyone was like, it's the best game of the year. Why are you doing?
Well, the thing is,
it seems so like backwards.
I'm in a bit of catch-22 in regards to it, because I was speaking to my very PlayStation-oriented best mate, who has compared it to Uncharted in regards to the style of game it is. Now, I've never got into the Uncharted games. Every time I've tried to play them, I've not enjoyed them. And he's been like sort of quizzing me, how you enjoying Indiana Jones, blah blah blah. And I've said I'm loving it. I think it's absolutely incredible. And he's like, if you've enjoyed this game this much, why have you not enjoyed why have you not enjoyed Uncharted? So I think Xbox / Machine Games, and I know it's coming to PlayStation in regards to exclusivity, but I feel like obviously Uncharted is a series, but I feel like they've managed to produce a game that allows them to have a game that goes up against Uncharted in this one. Now, having not got any Uncharted games, I don't know if anybody else has.
I the entire time I was playing it, I was like, this is just like Uncharted, which obviously is the inspiration for Uncharted.
Yes, of course.
It was like my thoughts was it is just as good as at least the first Uncharted, if not more of them. But
yeah. So
brilliant.
could they make it, like, obviously I don't know how much, I know this isn't based on a film, it's an individual story. So are we going to see more Indiana Jones games in the future? Could they make a series of it like Uncharted? Could this be their answer? That, like, I know they've got the Tomb Raider games that are not technically Xbox exclusives, but could Indy be the answer to Nathan Drake?
I mean, I guess Jake can answer one spoiler: is the end of the game the end of the first film? So I guess that would answer the question.
No, it's not.
The end
it's
of the
completely.
game.
Okay. They just did that first bit.
The opening. It's not even a mission as such, but the opening part of the game is lifted directly out of the film, and then as soon as that finishes, it's completely unique.
Right.
Again, slight spoilers, but it's a dream sequence. Basically, he wakes up at his desk and he's like dreaming about this adventure that he has had in like recent memory. I think it's like a year after that film, whichever one it is, I forget the name of it now.
Yeah,
but yeah, they totally could. Obviously, it's harder because it is an established story and franchise and stuff, but they totally could add another game or two in between, the films or even after some of the later films, but without Harrison Ford being 80 years old, and have it as an epic adventure as they have done here.
So obviously, I'm not that far into the game, but they've obviously went into the start part of this game in regards to the cat idol that they found in Siwa, for example. Why do we not get a backstory about how he got that cat idol in Siwa, for example? But again, I don't know if that then has parts of the, like, later on in the game it explains that, so you couldn't make a game out of it. But there's just one example of they've got like he's a professor at wherever he is. I can't remember the
Marshall
college.
University, isn't it?
Marshall University, and he's got all these artifacts. So pick an artifact and make a backstory for it, and that's your game.
Yeah,
so
I think that there's plenty of scope there for more games. And
yeah, exactly, and that's what I'm meaning.
But would a sequel be compromised by his health?
What, by Harrison Ford's health? Or
Yeah.
Well, I mean, all I need is
You've got Troy Baker, so it's fine.
From the 1980s. Yeah, Troy Baker.
But it's this likeness still. It's still in Harrison Ford's kind of likeness. So if it's worse were to happen,
from 40 years ago, so it's fine.
Yeah, no, but would they still release it if the worst were to happen?
I suppose.
So if Harrison was to kick the can, then
I mean, he's going to kick the bucket at some point, isn't he? And yeah, as long as it was, I guess as long as it's done respectfully, why not? I'm sure. People will keep things going.
I mean, if Mrs. Ford gets like a wee backhander to say like, here, everything we make for the game, you can get a wee 10%.
I know I'm dipping into the film industry, but you have to look at Fast and Furious, right? Paul Walker died, and they still carried that franchise on. So it doesn't have to be indie; it could be his daughter or son or whatever.
Nah, it'd have to be in there, I think.
That's the India.
You say that, but you know.
But again, going back to get sidetracked slightly, going back to what Ross was saying, it is, I would say, comparable to the way Uncharted plays and feels. Obviously, it's a different perspective, but the whole sort of globe hopping adventure it nails that Uncharted feeling. And to be honest, since I finished it, I'm like, I want to play Uncharted again. I haven't played Uncharted for ages. I need to go back to it.
Well, see, that's what's kind of making me think.
Brilliant.
Like, because like he like my mate messaged me about 4 hours into the Vatican area is huge, unsure if it's your kind of thing, very Uncharted, quite slow paced, exploration, etc. Loving it. I was like, I'm loving it. Vatican is incredible. I have no idea why you wouldn't like Uncharted then. So now I'm sort of like, maybe I wasn't mature enough to play Uncharted when it first came out. Maybe I now need to go back to Uncharted and experience Nathan Drake and see what he's like.
But if you're enjoying indie, you would enjoy Uncharted.
Well, that's what I think he's getting at. That like this is very comparable to Uncharted, which means to me, Microsoft/Xbox are onto a winner, and they should look at making this a series.
Yeah, I as much as I would like a new Wolfenstein, I think based on this, I think the next thing we're going to get is another Indiana Jones, be it in some form, be it a shorter game or a DLC or what have you. But I think we're going to get more Indiana.
Yeah,
it is.
So, not to rush this show on, Jay, but you very quickly need to do your second place game because you took a day and an age and missed your
Yes, I'm sorry. Like I said, I had a family thing going on. So
then we will jump back to honourable mentions.
Second place game is for me a game called that I reviewed, my only 10 out of 10 this year. A game called Promenade on Xbox from a company called, I've forgotten the name of them already. I've ruined it with Red Art. Why not? Let's go with that. So it's basically, anyone here played Super Mario Odyssey?
No.
Kind of.
No, yeah, kind of. So,
yes, no, sorry. Where you get
I know what it is, yeah.
Yes, where you get the caps.
So the idea of Super Mario Odyssey is that you're basically given an open world-ish, and there's tons of puzzles hidden within that world. So you might run into a sand dune and there's a collectible there. You might find a character who needs a certain item, collectible there. There's a hidden doorway you go through and there's a set of puzzles there, etc., etc. And the same thing here with Promenade. So you're given this sort of smaller open world, and as you explore it, you find lots of little hints as to what the puzzles might be. So it might be that there's a snail, for example, that's getting smashed by cannon fire, obviously, as they do, and it can't progress to get to its friend because the cannons are shooting it back, so you've got to figure out how to stop the cannons. There's another one where you'll see some hooks that are sort of just out of reach, but eventually you work your way to be able to reach them and you can grab up and then you can get a piece of the cogwheel. The whole point is this great elevator is it's been damaged and you've got to get parts of the cogwheel to bring it back up to get yourself to the top of the tower, basically. And it's just inventive, it's brilliant, it's clever, and there's every time you think, oh, I'm done with this area, there's like one more puzzle to find, which then leads into one more puzzle to find, which then leads into one more puzzle to find, and it just goes and goes and goes. I think there's something like 300 puzzle pieces or like cogwheel pieces to find, and it's just brilliant. Like everything you think you can try, you go, oh, maybe I can use this item to get up there to get across. Oh yeah, I can do that. Or there's a out of shape or out of place item on the scenery here. What happens if I just line that up with a picture that I've got? Oh, it works. I've got another cog piece. What happens if I give this character a certain item that they sort of vaguely hinted that they wanted? Oh, puzzle piece. And it just goes and goes and goes, and it's just brilliant. They're so clever with the way they lay out the levels, like on each level of the elevator floor. There's different worlds that you go into, but also on the elevator itself, there's different puzzles to solve, and you sort of take items from one area and then you go back to another area and sort of revisit, and then you've realized you can get to new places or you can unlock new doors, etc. And at no point is there ever like a feeling of, there's nothing to do here, I better move on. There's always something to do, always something to find, and obviously eventually you will run out of stuff to do if you completely 100% it, but if you're just playing through it with the aim to get to the end, it's just it feels like it's never ending, and it's just, like I said, clever and inventive. And by the time you get to the top of the elevator, there's so many random scenarios and so many sort of twists and turns that no one's going to play here, I imagine. But when you get to the sort of final area, there's like a new twist where you can change your size, so you can go from minuscule to fucking massive. And the way they play with that sort of set of puzzles is just so clever, and it's so enjoyable. Like, it seems complicated, but once you get into it, it's just it's tremendous. I had a great time playing. Like I said, it's my only 10 out of 10 game this year. I couldn't really find any fault with it, other than some of the later areas get a bit confusing if you're going back and forth, like I said, different sizes and stuff. But that's more on me, I think, than anything, because I was like, I just want to finish the game. I don't know what's going on. But I worked my way through it, and yeah, it is fucking brilliant. I think I forget the exact number of pieces there are, but I found like 80 maybe 90% of them, which is very rare for me. I normally I'll just fly through a game and don't worry about the extra stuff, but I couldn't help myself. Every time I got into an area, I was like, oh, there's a puzzle here. Oh, there's a puzzle here. Oh, there's another one here. And you can find pages that tell you how many puzzles are left in each area. And most of the areas I ended up with like only one, maybe two things that I hadn't done, because I had a great time playing it, and it's just joy from start to finish. So yeah, Promenade. Like I said, my only 10 out of 10 this year, and yeah, fucking brilliant video game.
Yeah, only 10 out of 10 wasn't your number one.
That was what I was thinking. I was like, that seems a bit Irish.
Like I said.
So a game that's worst is your number one. Okay.
No, like I said, I reviewed almost every game on my list this year.
He didn't review his number one. That was his only caveat that I was letting him away with. You should have. You should have premised that with saying it was my only 10 out of 10 that I reviewed.
Yeah, same difference. Yep. But yes, so yeah, Promenade, tremendous game. I've floored by it, absolutely brilliant. So
before we start on the first ones, do you want a plug-in or do you want to just jump into it?
Are we done with honourable mentions?
No, that's it. Everybody's done that. You were the last one.
Whoa. Me and Graham done honourable mentions.
Oh, so we did. Sorry. My apologies. Sorry.
I thought I'd jump in there. All right, so let's go back to the honourable mentions. I've had mine, Indiana Jones. Catch me up again because I missed it. Ian, what did you pick? Sorry.
Indy.
Indiana Jones.
Yours was Indiana Jones, and Ross
you three were Indy.
Mine was Indy as well.
Right. Okay, I'm with you. Right. Okay. So let's go to Graham. Graham, tell me, what was your honourable mention for 2024, please?
My honourable mention was just something that was just when we played it was a surprise at how much we actually enjoyed it, and it was Space Marine 2.
Don't you know I'm still standing?
Warhammer 40,000, whatever it is. But just completely going into. I mean, I played some other ones, and they're usually kind of second-rate games compared to like main ones. But this one actually felt like a proper main game.
It's fucking incredible,
and it was incredible.
Good fun,
for like the horde kind of combat that you're so used to seeing, it was done very well. And playing it as we did was sort of, I played it with Jay and Ian, like the sort of the 3-man sort of team going into it. It just, the dynamic works. It works really, really well. And yeah, surprised. I mean, was not following the story. I mean, that's probably what I had to go to.
What story?
There was
a
story.
Know what was going on. I remember something about Rubicons, and Rubicon, Charon, and someone talking about Rubicons. So aside from that, I mean, the armors that you can sort of definitely think incredible. The multiplayer combat thing was a bit meh, the sort of PvP mode, but the main storyline, sort of playing through that whole story, was just the right amount of challenge as well. Some of it was sort of really tough, but it just gives you that kind of extra edge to try and do much better next time. And yeah, a variety of different guns and different styles you can go through, and
customizing your guy to make an abomination of colors.
Yeah.
But yeah, for a Warhammer game, this one was definitely a cut above most of the kind of sort of Warhammer games we played. And I could not include it just because we had so much fun kind of playing it and sort of storming through it. And we smashed through the whole story and ended up completing it.
We did indeed, and we've still got one. I forget what they're called, the operations. Whatever
Oh, the extra operation piece.
I was thinking about the other day. We got the last one to finish off, but what a game! What a game that was! I had such a good time playing it.
So that's why I made my
top 5. We'll probably get in my top 5. Yeah, it was such a good fun. Glad I picked it up.
But yeah, that was my honourable just because it was so great fun to play.
It was a massive. Massive surprise. I think I don't think Pete's played it, but everyone else has played it.
I did play it. I didn't play it. I played it single player and didn't like it, but yeah.
It was fucking incredible. Yeah, it was definitely one of these games where you had to play it in a group, but it was fucking spectacular.
I think we need to get Special Guest Pete on the Space Marine 2 hype train and get him into some multiplayer game because it obviously has.
I knew you guys would like it because it was very Gears of War gameplay. Which
Gears of War, which Ian
whoa!
Whoa! Pump the brakes here. I was like, you don't do that to Ian.
Told me.
Ian's a secret Gears of War lover anyway, so it's fine.
I mean,
come out the closet, Ian.
Check out his Batista.
The reversals and sort of catching the little guys in the air and smashing shit out of them, or using your chainsaw to fucking rip fools apart. Oh, tremendous game.
You talking about Gears of War or Space Marines?
Oh, either or. But yeah, Space Marine 2.
You're going to trigger me in a minute.
What was your character's name, Gray? I can't remember. It was Cherian, Titus, and what's the last guy's name?
Kefla?
Dave.
I can't remember what it was now.
I mean, Cherian was the fucking the man when he saved our ass many times when it was just me and you playing. And then,
it is one of the few games that I've played where like the NPC is actually useful. Yeah, it doesn't just stand there and is fucking useless.
There was one where I think we're on like a tower and stuff. We've got to destroy 4 pillars, and the Cherian just saved our ass. So many times. Both of us are like,
well, what can I do? I can always save you guys.
Yeah, I mean, Ian did a fucking tremendous job.
Gadriel.
Except for Except for when he joined us the first time he started playing it, he was on his own. Me and Graham on the other side of the map, we couldn't help him.
When we first started, I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Oh yeah, we had to send Ian over the other side. That's all right, I kept him alive. That was such a way to throw him in the deep end. Over here, you just go fight yourself over there.
Welcome to this co-op shooter. Be on your own for half hour.
We get hordes of enemies trying to attack you. Yeah,
I know. It's a great game. It's a great choice. I must admit, it was high up my list, but I had so many good games this year. It couldn't make the list, but not this list anyway. But I'm going to write up a thing on xboxtavern.com, which will probably include that.
So,
Pete,
any more Space Marine 2, Graham?
No, let's put it to Pete's honourable mention.
Special guest Pete, let's bring it to you. Round us off with the honourable mentions before we get into the final throes of the episode. What is your pick for 2024?
So my honourable mention for 2024, the surprise of everybody, is Dragon Age: The Veilguard. After completing my second playthrough, I couldn't in good conscience put it in my top 3.
Wow.
Just that, hands up, there's going to be spoilers here. So if you don't hear spoilers, then take your headphones off, right?
Fuck off.
But there's just, I mean, look, you can see my phone here. Here's a list of my pet peeves of Dragon Age. You know,
one or two.
Yeah. There was a lot of stuff that didn't sit right. Like, so, I liked the companions. Tash was definitely Marmite. Sometimes I loved her and she was awesome. Other times, the controversial bits were a bit like, yeah, it was a bit like in your face, which I didn't particularly like. I know we spoke about this before, and it's like I can never really articulate what I try and mean, but you know, the one good thing I have on Facebook is I've been part of this Dragon Age fandom group for like since Inquisition days, and there's a lot of inclusivity in that group of, you know, bi, trans, and the LGBTQ plus community are in there, and even those guys are like, at certain points you're like, what is this? It's like the first time you meet Tash, your rook just goes up to her and says, "Oh, you're Canary. I can see you're wearing the ropes at the Cume wear. Are you in the Cume?" "No." "Don't tell me who I am." It's like, "Hello, sorry, I just asked a question," and that kind of set the tone. And obviously, doing the bar thing was all that, but there's a lot of it was in your face that I felt was a bit unnecessary. There's loads of games out there that have inclusivity that don't try and shove it in your face, that are like, you know, it wasn't bad, but it was enough that, you know, if this Facebook group are kind of, it was very 50-50 in there. And if those people are talking about it as if, you know, they've gone through similar experiences, then it feels like, you know, I sit here as a straight white male. You know, I get that I don't really have a valid opinion when it comes to people being trans and all that. So I understand that. But when people have gone through that, are kind of also voicing concerns about how it was coming across and how it has alienated a lot of people. And obviously you've got the, I don't know, is it far right that are just obviously blow things out of proportion? It's not that bad, but it was a bit like,
more like Dragon Age, the woke guard. Am I right?
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't that bad, right? But there's other things like, you know, at the start of the game, you get Harding and she get these powers, and you're like, yes, dwarves can use magic. This is fucking awesome. Harding
this is awesome. This is a thin line we're treading here. If you're bitching about Harding,
no, don't worry. I've got a good point.
You shout about my bay.
And no, I love Harding, right? But it's the bit where it's like, you know, she finds out she's got these magical powers, and then she like stops the Darkspawn, that turns them into stone. I'm like, holy shit, this is fucking awesome. But the only time she used it in the story is when you can move a rock, and it's like, really, your power has been reduced to moving rocks. Yeah. It's like those memes when you fight a final boss, and it's the most epic fight ever. They join your party, and it's like,
and they're shit.
Harding's not shit, but you get that feeling of they've introduced his power as amazing, but she's only there to move a rock up, down, left, or right, and it's like
she has the blood of the Titans, and exactly. Can go up or down.
There was so much potential there, right? So, here we go. Right, Ross, in Dragon Age, how many races are there?
Oh, fuck!
How many races can you choose from? Sorry, to play as.
Canary, human, elf, dwarf.
So 4.
Yeah, 4.
Right. Graham, do you remember how many backgrounds you can choose from?
There's about 6 or one there.
6. So you can argue that there's quite a lot of potential playthroughs where you can differ things up, right?
But unfortunately, they pair into it. They kind of link into each other at some point.
Yeah. But so unfortunately, the Veilguard, I don't know if you noticed this, if you've seen this, but the Dragon Age Veilguard only gives you space for 3 character saves.
Oh.
Yeah. So I'm like, I finished my second character, and I'm like, then it says you can only make 1 more save. It's like, oh, hang on, you're telling me you've got 4 races and I'm going to make 3? Because obviously, I know a lot of people will make characters and will just throw them away. But I like to go back to characters and stuff. Like, each character slot has 100 saves, which is great. But the fact you can only make 3 characters is a bit of a piss take for me. Especially every game before that, you can make as many as you want. You know, obviously, Inquisition, I think, only has like 100 save slots. But you can still make 10 characters, right? And you can have them, you can make them 10 different ways, you know, and all this and all that. And to only be able to make 3 characters and have to potentially delete 1, you know, it's like, well, I kind of like to come attached to my characters, and because I've done with that character, and I've done this with that character. So that kind of took away a bit of that's a bit shit, isn't it? It reminds me of the old that Metal Gear game that Konami brought out, where you had to pay for an extra save file. So I was like,
Jesus,
yeah,
Metal Gear Survive.
yeah. A lot of the writing was 10 out of 10. You know, when I completed the game. Have you completed it yet, Graham?
Not yet.
Bloody hell. So, like, the final scene of the game had me, like, the final scenes had me like properly like choke. I haven't choked up a game since Last of Us, at the start of Last of Us. And I was like, holy shit, this is an emotional moment. But then there's other times in the game you're like, did a 5-year-old write this? Again, I can't get back where you've got like. So obviously, I'm going back to Tash here. So obviously, there's a part where Tash and Emmerich are having a banter, and it's like obviously she's going through her. Sorry. They're going through their transition, or they're trying to find out who they are, right? Yeah, I know. But then she goes out and calls Emmerich. She keeps calling him the dead guy, and Emmerich's like, "Can you please not call me the dead guy?" And he's and then they're like, yeah, but you are the dead guy. And it's like, what is this writing? Like, you're telling us to love and to understand Tash, but now you're
paying me a lot for a game that's your honourable mention.
Yeah. That's because you really wanted it to be his favourite.
I wanted this game to be my number one pick. I wanted this game to be my game of the generation, but it's not, and I'm pissed off. But it still gets an honourable mention because it is a good game, right? I'm not just shitting on it, right? Because it is a good game. The puzzles are a bit shit. Again, designed by a 5-year-old. They're covered rather insultingly. Especially when you get to a puzzle and you're like, all right, and you're looking around going, right, that goes to there, and one of your crewmates will go, oh, just do that, and you complete the puzzle. I'm like, why did you just tell me to complete that puzzle? It's half the part of the fucking fun is like trying to complete this puzzle, and you just told me how to do it.
Yeah, too much hand-holding in the puzzles. I would agree with that one.
Yeah, romances are underwhelming. Armor doesn't make a difference. Like obviously you've got light, medium, or heavy armor. Doesn't make a difference. Like by the time you get to them all, what are you laughing at, Ian? Am I taking too much? Should I wrap up?
No, it's just you're complaining a lot for a game that's like. You're like it's like this.
Fine, I'll leave.
Be more positives.
Positive.
I'll leave it there. We can move on.
Be positive. Show the positives about the game. What's
okay.
good about the game? That's what I want to know.
We can move on to number ones.
So, Dragon Age, good stuff. Just not as good as you'd hoped.
No, it would be out of the 4 so far. It's my 3rd favorite in the series, just above Dragon Age 2. Still a very good game.
I was going to say 2 must be at the bottom if that's the case.
Yeah, not by a lot because yeah. I should stop. Sorry, I should stop. I'm keep talking again, don't I?
Is Inquisition any good? Was that your favourite?
No, Inquisition's second. The first one's the best.
Inquisition.
That's why I thought they did it for me.
It's like Inquisition and Origins are basically that. You got.
Oh no! Wait a minute! Whoa! Before we go any further in this conversation, this is the man that doesn't think Mass Effect 2 is the best in the series. I cannot validate any of his points.
Yeah, but this is what I'm saying.
No,
you don't seem to understand.
Mass Effect 3 is the best one, though.
Well, you fucked the fuck up.
It is, though.
You fucked the fuck up.
End of the trilogy, you got 4 endings, 4 different colours to choose from.
3 different colours to choose from.
Well, after the update, 4 different colours.
3 different colours, or you can walk away.
Yeah.
That's not colour.
Walk away is yellow.
Anyway. Right, we've devolved here. Let's before we get to number ones, Ross, give me some plug-in.
You want some plugins? Ooh, we got a video.
And then we can do some.
Gee, we can't get monetized if computer sex tape out. Just saying.
I mean, it's only going to be 5 seconds, so surely that
from that section out, it's fine.
A bit of short.
Right, plug me away, sir. Plug me.
Speaking of trimming out the videos, we will be trimming out the videos on youtube.com/Xbox Tavern Official, where we are now partners, and you can become a member of our wonderful channel for the low cost of 99 pence per month. The best value in gaming. None of this Game Pass shit. It's not as good as us. Just saying. It allows you to get access to our After Dark shows. You highlight up your chats if you jump into the comments, and you get special little badges and emotes that you can put out because you are a wonderful supporter of our wonderful podcast and channel. Apple and Spotify podcast. If you want to jump over there and leave us a wee review, 5 stars would be greatly appreciated. CD Keys affiliate link. It does not cost any extra to use said link, but it does give us a wee kickback on the channel. So if you want to use that for any games, DLC, add-ons to games, whether that be EFC points, Madden tokens, anything along those sort of lines, if you use our code, exactly, monthly subscriptions or 3 monthly or yearly or whatever it may be, even if you want to use it to buy PlayStation Plus, you can do so. I know, but we're all inclusive here, Jay.
We are inclusive.
So if you want to use that, that would be greatly appreciated. And like I say, it helps us run the channel. It keeps us in these nice fancy graphics that we put up on screen, our fancy videos and layouts that we do every week for you at 8 p.m. live on YouTube on Sunday evenings. Written reviews can be found at xboxtavern.com. Unfortunately, because of the length of the show tonight, Jay will not have that list, but you know the place to find them if you want to go and have a wee nosy as to what has been reviewed in the recent weeks. Socials have been run on the bottom of the screen. You can find us all on major social networking sites, whether that be X, Blue Sky, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, whatever it may be. And we will be there as at Xbox Tavern or at Xbox Tavern Official. Discord, because of the length of the show tonight, we have not done our Guess the Game. I heard that the Guess the Game today was a rather easy one. I've gone to Special Guest Pete. There has been a couple of ones where I am not quite old enough to know which one it was. I'm sure one of them the other day was Super Mario Brothers 3. But I knew the series and didn't know the game because, as I say, I'm not all geriatrics like the rest of the people on the podcast, so I did not know which one it was. And last but by no means,
you have it,
this is true. My joints haven't started going yet. Well, that's a lie, but still. Last but by no means least, insert coin. If you use promo code XBXTVRN, you can get £5 off orders over £50, and that is valid till the end of the year. And I have some good news that Jay has ordered a beanie.
Ooh.
Tried to.
Tried
out.
Did you fail?
Oh, you left it too long.
Too long. I tried to. I went to do it, and they said, "Oh, your size is out of stock." Of course it is. There's one size only. So
Breaking.
I've got several notifications to remind me when it comes back in stock.
When it comes to stock, give it to me. Give it to me, please.
Give me more beanies.
Extra large beanie.
But
Stay covered up all his
some of
heel.
the stuff that I was very, very tempted to buy. Again, more Life is Strange t-shirts and jumpers. Go check them out. They're great stuff.
And this is it. The moment of truth. Jay, how do you want to start the list?
Well, before we start the top tier number
I
ones,
forgot there's a little treat.
Please hit me with my special video that I've made of honourable mentions.
Sexy music.
Can I put my hand up in there and say that I may or may not have had a wee look at this just in case it was something relevant for the show? So I will preference the people on the podcast and also guests in the chat. If you are listening on headphones and you in any way, shape or form have your volume up loud, I would highly suggest that you lower the volume on your headset.
Or if you enjoy good music, leave it right the way up.
I enjoy good music. I shat myself when I went to listen to this. So without further ado,
let's have at
take it away.
My ears are burning and bleeding.
I gave plenty of warning. However, I am going to have to edit out the audio version of the podcast because otherwise people are just going to hear death metal in their ears and not have a fucking clue what just happened. However, if you do want to know what happened, jump over to www.youtube.com/Xbox Tavern Official and you'll find out.
Damn right. There was a lot of games
Damn
there that I needed to shout out.
I gave plenty of
And-
forewarning there.
And yes, lots of fucking tremendous games. Again, if you're not watching on video, you would have just heard some awesome music there, or nothing.
Some
at all,
death
as
rock.
it is out. But yeah, go check it out. Lots of great games, including some games that have already been mentioned by some other folks here on this podcast, and I'm sure one of them will be,
Or even some that are due to be mentioned.
Yeah,
Indeed.
I saw that, you
indeed.
Ted.
Yeah, Jake. Why don't you start first then, since you?
So
Jay,
I'm just gonna throw my hat in the ring there because
Finish
I feel
him.
like I've already ruined it, and I'm gonna give you all one chance to guess what my game of the year is.
I know
Yeah,
what
as
it
if
is.
you
I
know
wouldn't
it.
say anything.
As if you need it. Go on, Graham, Ian, Pete, all together now.
Dogma 2.
Grandma's dog into.
It is indeed my
The
best
dog
game of the year.
2.
Dragon's Dogma 2. And now I had literally zero expectations going into Dragon's Dogma 2. I didn't really enjoy the first one, the little that I played of it. I don't even remember. I think I played a demo perhaps. And when I didn't even know it was coming out, Dragon's Dogma 2, to be quite honest with you, until about a month beforehand. And I got an email from Capcom and they're, Dragon's Dogma 2 is out next month. I'm like, I'm not interested in that whatsoever. And then we got offered obviously a review code for it. Ross, I believe you took the review code.
I did
And
indeed.
they were very kind to allow us a second one. And I thought, well, I'll tell you what, I'll give it a shot. Why not? I like to experience new things. The whole point of the Xbox Tavern, in my eyes anyway, is to try as many different games as possible. Stuff that I wouldn't normally play, stuff that perhaps doesn't necessarily interest me, and just see how it goes. And the next 40 odd hours were just spent in utter joy, just exploring this world and exploring the pawn system, the vocation system. And just,
Sorry, repeat that, please.
you heard
What system?
the pawn system.
Pawn.
P-A-W-N. P-A-W-N.
Pawn.
Oh,
Pawn.
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 Right. Okay.
Pawn.
P-O-I-N.
Just to clarify that.
That's why it's your game of the year.
So it's
All
this
makes
open
sense
world which you can explore at your leisure, or the game says, here's the world, here's some missions as you find them. Are you going to complete them? I don't give a fuck. Like, do what you want. It makes no difference to me. And you're like, but where do I go for this mission? I don't fucking know. Figure it out, you shitbag. Oh, I can't do this. But then you can, because then you just explore and you stumble across more missions, you stumble across more characters, more pawns out in the world, easy in. And the whole system of sort of making new pawns to add to your
Making
party
new
as you
pawns.
play through.
I
It's
don't know
fair
what
to
pawn-
say, Jay, finding random porn in a forest is not what you expect.
Those days are long behind me.
Yeah.
Those days are long behind me. But as you're exploring, obviously you level up. Your main pawn category levels up with you, but you can have 4 characters, and the extra 2 you have to swap out regularly because they don't level up with you. So the idea is to have, say, 2 extra, a mage and a soldier, for example. But as you get too high level for them, then you bin them off and get some new ones in from either your friends who are playing, or from the random community at large, or from Capcom themselves. They put some out there, and it just freshens it up so that you're not always stuck with the same 4 party members. And initially I was like, oh man, I just really want to keep these characters and just keep them going. But as I got into it, I realized that it was actually more enjoyable to swap them out, because although the voice acting is I mean, it's terrible, but it's not. There's not a great variety. It does make it more enjoyable, I found, to mix it up to the point where sometimes you'll have a really well spoken English fucking what do they call them, the beast characters. I forget the name of them now. Is it the Beastrons, isn't it? Is that it?
Oh yeah. Oh
Yeah, so
Yes.
you have a really well-spoken Beastron on your party, and then you swap them out for a miserly old granny. It's like,
Oh, that was my one.
Yeah, it's great. What's your Velma? Wasn't it?
Thelma, yeah.
Velma, yeah. And yeah, you just mix them out. Like I said, obviously your friends' pawns will level up with your friends. So I had Graham's and I had AJ's from the site as well, who were fairly high level. And then I just mixed it up with the other one and occasionally swapped them out for some others as well. But exploring the world, like I said, you might stumble across a quest, you might stumble across a random instance of a massive beast fight with some griffins or a troll or some Medusa and stuff like that. And it all felt like there was a world there to explore, but it wasn't dictated by, you have a mission, you need to go here. It was just a case of, let's just go through this world, and so I'm going over that way, but let's see what I find along the way. Much like Zelda and Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild and stuff, like, you've got an objective, but what you find along the way is often more interesting and more fun. And there was one instance which I reread the review that Ross did, and I had a sort of excerpt in there. And there was one mission where I found, like, someone said, "Oh, there's some treasure in this cave." I was like, "Yeah, I'll do that while I'm here, and then I'll carry on to my mission." And then 2 hours later, I was halfway across the map in a completely different area where I just followed this mission all the way because there was different treasure to find, different enemies to fight, dragons and all sorts of stuff. And it was just absolutely brilliant. I couldn't put it down. Like the being able to climb onto the monsters if you're that sort of class and sort of mash them in the head, or get out your magic, or get out your ranged weapons. Being able to mix up the pawns so you had a varied party that sort of complemented each other. Getting quests where they'd be like, my son's trapped in a cave somewhere, can you go help him? And I'm like, where is it? I don't know. And then you can either go and find it, or you can be like, well, fuck you, son, I'm going to carry on. And
you're not going to fucking help me. Why am I helping you?
But again, the whole point is you could have gone and found him, and then probably found something else as well. And eventually, I did find the cave, but he was dead by the time I got there because a lot of quests are timed out. So it's a case of, do I want to pursue this, or do I want to just bin it off and carry on? And the option's there for you, and it's enjoyable either way. And yeah, like I said, I had zero expectations going into it. I thought I'd probably hate it, but I wanted to give it a go, and I couldn't put it down. And then obviously I finished it. I was like, I'm done with that. And then Graham here fucking sowed the seeds. Oh, by the way, you didn't actually get the true ending. And I was like, what do you mean again? True ending. And then the only time you actually get to see the words Dragon's Dogma 2 is when you finish the game and get to the true ending, which is another 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 hours of gameplay where you fight even bigger bosses, which were just tremendous fun to fight. And I had a great time exploring the world because, again, no massive spoilers, but it changes the landscape that you're in, like, completely. And it's just a fucking brilliant game left, right, and center, and I can't recommend it enough. And if I had more time, I probably would have put a hell of a lot more time into it. But
I won't delve into other games that are yet to be mentioned on the list, but I will touch on one that has been. See, everything you've just said in regards to that game, in regards to doing a quest and all of a sudden being dragged 2/3 of the way across the map to do another quest, you've just described Elden Ring.
Yes, but I think the difference between the two, although Dragon's Dogma is very hard and it has sort of elements of Elden Ring, I guess, in terms of the combat's quite clunky and slow and methodical, and you've really got to put your time into it. It rewards you because, again, you've got your party of 4, and if you're struggling, there's a good chance that one of them could help you out, either freezing the enemy in place or taking some damage while you retreat to heal, and then you're not constantly punished until you're necessarily good enough to beat them on your own. You've got that party to back you up, which is what I enjoyed about it. And there's more options of, you can take camp and heal up, or you can, like I said, duck into a different alleyway altogether and find a different side mission or different encampment or different set of characters or pawns or what have you. And it's just, I loved it. And to be honest, like I said, if I had more time, I would have got more into it. And the last few weeks I've been, maybe I should pick up where I left off and carry on again. But no, I've got time. I've got lots of other games I need to play. But yeah, I think it is not necessarily one of the best games I've ever played, but it's one of the best games I've played in the last probably 10 years. Easily.
Wow.
And I had just a fantastic time playing it. And younger Jamie would have spent hundreds of hours, I think, playing it, but old Jamie doesn't have hundreds of hours to play one video. To move on. But yeah, just brilliant from start to finish. I can't really think of anything negative to say about it other than it is so obtuse that if you don't just play that, you're probably going to get stuck, because it's not something you can put down for a week and come back, because then you're like, what the fuck was I doing? Where am I going? All of these quests, I've no idea where they are. It's one you need to just stick with for a long time. But yeah, I had a great time. I thought it was fucking brilliant. Very, very good. I know Graham played it, obviously. Ross played it, obviously, he reviewed it. Any thoughts further to what I just said, other than how fucking tremendous it is?
I mean, like I say, I enjoyed. You can read my review in regards to what my initial thoughts on it was, but the only issue I had with it was compared to like an Elden Ring or compared to another game that is due to be mentioned, it didn't stack up as highly as them. And maybe I'm being overly critical because I was playing them at the same time as what I was playing this game. So maybe if I go and look at it in isolation and just solely focus on playing through Dragon's Dogma, I might have a different opinion of it, which I might need to do. But there was just certain aspects of it, like the traveling system, and it pissed me off. Like this whole, like that really grinded my gears for the fact that you could buy the stones required to fast travel.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that is a massive fucking red flag to me. Like that shouldn't be something that's an added extra like that. That should be in game. And I know it is. You can find them in game. I get that.
You can find them. I mean, I used them only in the like after the credits, basically. I don't think I ever fast traveled once before I got to that point. But yeah, the microtransactions were bullshit, to be fair.
Yeah, and that pissed me off. Like when I seen that, and it's like, oh, you need this stone to fast travel. Do you want to spend X amount of money to buy it? And I'm like, no, I just want to fucking find it in game. But don't then make it fucking not nigh and impossible to find it, but don't make it so that it's like ridiculous. Like Elden Ring has the fast traveling system where you have to find the site of grace before you can fast travel. That I don't mind. Like find a marker in the game that you have to find it before you can fast travel to it. I don't mind that in the slightest. But don't make me fucking buy the reason that I need to fast travel.
And the fact, like you said, it was limited use. Like I found, like I said, maybe not even 10 stones. And I only use them in the epilogue, but that was because I didn't want to waste one traveling when I didn't need to. And again, exploring the world from A to B, even if I was just retreading ground I'd already been on, chances are there was something new to find, or a new enemy that would crop up, or a dragon fight, or what have you. And there were so many instances of just epic fights. Like there was one fight against a dragon that just randomly appeared. It was sort of like two rocky outcrops with a big sort of chasm in the middle. And I was on one side. The dragon was like me and my friend team fighting on one side. There was some AI random NPCs on the other side, and we were sort of like mixing up the fight between us, and we were jumping across to help out and pick each other up. And that was one of the only instances where my characters got stuck in the scenery. I couldn't revive them, but it was just like an epic fight that just like it wasn't a scripted thing. It just happened, and it was something that was so much fun to play, even if, like I said, I got a bug and my characters glitched through the floor. But you know, some of my pawns went down, some of the AI went down, but we eventually beat this dragon, and then we sort of harvested his materials and camped at the camp nearby and stuff. And it was just like one of those stories that you could imagine, like adventurers going, "Oh, I fought this dragon on this hilltop," and it's tremendous. It was so good. I think easily one of the best games I've played in the last decade.
Jay making his late call to try and get in The Witcher 4 with Geralt, though.
I can't do that. Anyway, right. That's enough Dragon's Dogma 2 talk from me, because I could talk about it all day. I think it's fucking tremendous game. But we need to move on. Now, I've got a vague idea of the picks we've got going on here from a couple of people. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Graham now. Okay. Graham, I want your first place pick, because I suspect I know what it is, but I don't know, whereas I know a couple of other people. So tell me, what's your game of the year 2024, please?
It should be surprising no one, but my pick came at the beginning of the year, and it was Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth.
I'll take things I would never have seen coming for 100 times.
Yeah, so this did what they promised to do and put Kiryu with Kasuga from obviously Kiryu from the main Yakuza series all the way up from like 0 to 7 or 8, which they got to, and then the Like a Dragon series had Kasuga, the brand new kind of protagonist, and this kind of series combined them both, or this game combined them both. And story wise, they had everything again, sort of the twists and turns in their story. The combat, they mixed it up slightly. It was kind of a semi turn-based battle thing as before, rather than the sort of real-time combat as what the Yakuza series was. They've kept it like a Dragon, where it is kind of turn-based, but semi-turn-based. You can move around a little bit and commit certain actions. and it's just always jam-packed full of wackiness, content, laughs, and just even sort of interesting kind of storylines. But yeah, they ramped up everything. They ramped up the stories, they ramped up the twists, and then they definitely ranked up the sort of wackiness of the kind of game with sort of, as you can see in the pound mates are back, and it's always just random. You can sort of call in a lobster to sort of help you win a fight, and call in sort of a guy that's liked being dressed up as a baby, and there's all kinds of different kind of weirdness going on. But it's such a contrast when the story can get so gritty and real and sort of about sort of murder and sort of gang sort of warfare in sort of Japan, and how the Yakuza was dissolved and not everyone took it so well. So instead of sort of being an open-facing Yakuza, they're sort of being a Yakuza in a slightly different way, and just causing chaos. And obviously it's up to sort of Kiryu and Kasuga to work together to sort of put a stop to that kind of plan. And yeah, it gets very real and very serious, and the main sort of focus of the story in this one is Kasuga finding his real mother, because he got switched at birth, and he fortunately wound up working for who we didn't know at the time was his real father. But that's kind of the revelation that you find out in the first Like a Dragon game. Whereas this one, he's on his way to try and find his actual mother. And it takes a lot of different twists involved, and there's even sort of super mini games kind of involved. This game always have jam-packed full of sort of mini game content, of like playing arcade games that from previous kind of Sega-based games mixed in with which is still in this one as well. But a weird sort of hotelier kind of vibe where you have to build up a little island to sort of populate with kind of guests, and if you kind of do well in that piece, you kind of get extra boosts and extra items to take back to the main game. It's just, whenever there's sort of a game that's definitely going to be a time hog and just have so many different kind of variants, it's one of the games you can sort of plow in sort of a good 5 hours of a session, and you've not even played any of the main game. You've been dicking around on side quests and side games and not actually doing anything involved in the story. It's just, so much different kind of fun. I mean, you can just play it for different parts of the game rather than playing it from the main kind of game. And it's the same with the kind of Yakuza games. And it was always going to be my win. I sort of saw it all the way through to completion, racked in a lot of hours into it, and couldn't get enough of it. And can't wait till the next one that's due out next year, pirate themed. So always going to be top of my list, and nothing kind of knocked it off its perch. A few things kind of came close-ish, but it was always going to be my number one. Always a top sort of one, and these series has rarely ever let me down.
Yeah, 3 things I just seen from that trailer. 1, a guy that was baby oiled up in a diaper called Sujimon.
Yeah.
2nd, a girl trying to kill somebody with a fucking Dyson handheld vacuum. That's third, that fishing game was fucking awesome when it first came out. I love that fishing game.
Yeah, so
Ian loved it as well.
The vacuum cleaner thing was like a new thing they kind of tried. It's kind of a play on the Final Fantasy style where you can change different jobs, but rather than being like mage and things like that, they've kind of intertwined it with real life things. So you can be like a break dancer, and that one's just like a maid, and there's like a surfing action star, and there's so many variations of kind of job. Even a gunslinger, so you just randomly put on like a cowboy outfit and just...
I've seen the cowboy. You also got it down to a T as well when you were saying, and I've always got these weird things like a lobster coming to help you fight, and next thing you know, the fucking lobster's on the screen like this.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So there's always something random like that where he helps some random sort of lobster find its mate or something in the game. There's always some sort of randomness about that, and there's random sexual humor in there. There's always someone dancing in their pants, or just some weirdness going on. You're always snapping creeps that are flashers and stuff like that. So it's just the random quirky humor of the Yakuza series. So can't get enough of it. And always going to be my number one pick.
It is, from what I've played, a fucking tremendous game. And probably if I played more, it might have even ended up in my top list somewhere. But I end up getting stuck on Dondoku Island. Is that what it's called? The hotel mini game. And I actually installed it again this week with the intention, as you would have seen if you watched the little clip that I played, the game I intend to get back to over the Christmas period and try and finish off. But yeah, it's a great game, fucking tremendous. The only other Yakuza game I played was it The Man Who Erased His Name? And I fucking loved that. So I played Infinite Wealth going into it strong. And yeah, it's a great game. I just fell off of it because I had other stuff to do. But yeah, it's a good pick, Grayman. Number one. So we got Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. Is that what it's called? The next one? With what's his name? I can't remember his name.
Goro Majima is the main protagonist of these kind of games. He was in the 0 one.
I'd like to finish Infinite Wealth before that comes out, so I can hopefully carry on and properly get into the Yakuza / Like a Dragon series at some point. But yeah, great choice. I assume no one else here has played Infinite Wealth.
No, never.
Never played any of the Yakuza games. However, judging by the description of them, I probably should give them a go. But the whole turn-based combat system gives me a bit of the but
yeah, I don't like turn-based combat systems, but in Infinite Wealth, it is actually quite enjoyable. Like,
yeah,
as Gray said, that you're not stuck in position and you got a bit of freedom to experiment as well as choosing your turn-based actions. But
yeah,
definitely
really good game. Good game, Grayman. That's a solid pick. It's not as good as Dragon's Dogma 2, obviously, but yeah, it is good.
Didn't even make my list.
Shots
From an RPG fan, it didn't make my list.
That tells you all you need to know. Given every one of these games are in these top 3 are all RPGs.
Yes. But yeah, I mean, obviously he knew I was going to pick Dragon's Dogma, but that's why he didn't pick it. Because
wanted a bit of variety. Spice of life.
All right, well, Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, fucking tremendous game. But now we need to move on to Million Man Ian. Million Man Ian, you've got a top game this year, I hope, that you've played.
This,
and I'm sure it's not going to be some achievement horror game.
This, to me, is fucking disgusting. But
I'm excited because yours is the last one that I don't actually know. So I'm ready and raring to be surprised / stunned.
So my game of the year, after much deliberation, I just thought I had to put it in there. It's Fishing Simulator 2020. No, it is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
And what console did you play that on?
I played that on a newly bought PlayStation 5.
Right. So Xbox Tavern podcast game of the year is a PlayStation exclusive. Right. Like I'm glad we clarified that.
If you feel feeling a better, Ian, last year he said exactly the same thing to me about picking Pikmin 4. So carry on.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, yeah,
I am consistent with my fucking abuse of matters, but
yeah. So based on that, I actually fully bought a whole brand new PS5 just to play this, and I played through quite through the story when I first bought it, and then just got distracted, and then I had the glorious time of having no internet. So I restarted it from scratch again, and I couldn't put it down which helped me having no internet for a week and a bit. Well, I had no internet for 3 weeks, but for a good solid week and a half, 2 weeks, I actually didn't stop playing it. Did most of the side stuff, obviously all the story, completed it all. And I think it's just a well brought out game. A lot of the story I did forget, but then it kind of once you start playing through it, it does remind you. So oh yeah, that happened, and that happened, and that happened, and then I did watch the abridged version of this Final Fantasy VII to kind of remind me of a bit of the story, just to kind of get back. Because I didn't really want to watch what happened in Final Fantasy VII full story, so I watched the comedy version instead. But for me, it's just kind of the whole combat kind of played out really well. They made the story much better in what happened from the original to the remake. So I think it just kind of, for me, it just kind of stemmed from a bit of nostalgia, having no internet, spending loads of money to buy a brand new console. Why
are you lying? You can turn around and tell us it was all for Tifa. There's no need to lie. This is a safe space.
But also Tifa is and she is very, very sexy.
I mean, I'd even give you it for Sephiroth. I mean, that hair in the sword is that's enough to win anybody over.
You get to play as Sephiroth in the beginning of the game.
Oh, spoilers!
But the One-Winged Angel.
Couldn't you do it in the original?
Oh, can you? It was more turn-based. With this one, you actually get to run around and hack and
I
slash.
thought people would have known.
Oh, back up. This isn't turn-based?
No, it's fully hack and slash. Well, not hack and slash. It's more like obviously you put input mainly. You mainly just slash away, then you press
Things may need to be considered in the next week.
Yes, it's no turn-based at all. The bit obviously you have combat, then you can kind of pause, like sort of like slowly pause it, so kind of time slows down really, really slow. And you can kind of pick a spell or pick an ability you want to use.
Very Dragon Age.
Yeah, and then you can pick between characters to kind of quickly. Okay, I wanted was Tifa to do her spell or her limit break. So quickly switch to Tifa, do her limit break. Then
I bet she broke your limit plenty of times.
Oh, she did. Wow, and there's no fishing in it, which is actually even better. But yeah, I think
didn't they release a Final Fantasy fishing game at one point? A VR game.
Did they? I know there's one in 15. 15 there was loads of fishing.
Tifa sitting there with a rod like this.
Yeah. In 15 there was loads of fishing.
Oh!
Actually, the achievement for 15. That was crazy. But yeah, also I think the story was they also made it more open world as well, so you can go back into different areas quite quick and easy. I think the original was open anyway, but it's more like seamless transition. So sometimes you get locked in areas, which makes sense because obviously you're doing the story, but then as soon as you go to that next bit of story, you can kind of go back to where you were before, or sometimes say, okay, you just escaped this area, you can't go back until chapter later on in the game. So basically, he goes, oh, you can't go back in that place yet. He has to die down. Eventually, so okay, everything's died down now. You can go back to this area. You can go back and do some of the other side quests and stuff. So yeah, thoroughly enjoyed it. I think it's just one of those ones where I couldn't put it down. It's just kind of a nice theme transition from the original. They made it really well, and they're kind of a bit more over the top, which is also fun. And obviously, you got the old golden soul. So yeah, me, Final Fantasy, PlayStation exclusive. I apologise.
I mean, it is coming to Xbox at some point. They've said
Eventually.
or at least they've hinted that they don't want to do it as a PlayStation exclusive anymore. But
it's on Windows. Technically, it counts.
It's coming to PC in January, I think it is.
Jan 23rd.
Yeah, so there's plenty of reason to pick it. And again, we're a multi-format podcast, really. Although we focus on Xbox, if I can pick Pikmin 4 1 year, you can certainly pick Final Fantasy 7.
I mean, you're going to have to deal with Legends ZA next year, so
yeah,
that's true for me as well. Probably.
I mean, so
there's lots of choice out there.
But that for me, yeah, perfect remake. I'm looking forward to the third one when they eventually make it. God knows when, but probably another 5 years, I imagine, until they make the third one. But
probably be a while, right? But before we move on to the other two guys pick, I need to share this with you basically because Ian, you're gonna love it.
Is it Tifa? Don't do that. You'll make a mess of his camera.
So partial nudity.
No, yeah.
Monsters of the Deep VR fishing game, which is just right up Ian's street.
Oh my!
VR as well? Did you just say?
It's VR as well. I think. PSVR,
oh my days!
I'm not sure if it's PSVR 2 or the original PSVR. I forget, but I just thought Ian needed to see this, just so he's voting for.
Yeah, it's 15. That's 15, mate.
Final Fantasy as your game of the year. You're supporting this sort of shenanigans. Just thought I'd let you know that.
Yeah, I paid for the 15 achievements, so I know how much.
You know what wholeheartedly makes me a little bit sick to my belly. I have played 2 Final Fantasy games, right? When I first got introduced to Final Fantasy, X2 was the first one that I got introduced to.
Oh, why'd you do that?
Well, because that was what I got introduced to. I had never played any of the previous ones, and I got told this is the newest Final Fantasy, you should play it. So I played X2. And the other one that I have played to the completion, obviously, is 15. That has been my 2 Final Fantasy experiences. Is there any wonder why I'm not a big fan of the series?
15's fine. 15's just a stag do gone wrong.
15's so fucking boring. Let's jump in the car and drive. Oh, look, we have to stop for the night. Let's make a 3-course meal.
It's just lads on tour. Lads.
I mean, it wasn't terrible. It looked fucking visual, like stunning. And the movie that went alongside it was awesome as well.
Yeah.
And also the mechanics cool as fuck.
I would never play that.
That's making me queasy thinking about
Just
it.
for you, Ian. I thought you'd appreciate that. We love a good bit of fishing.
Why do you smell so?
You love it. You love it. You love it. Right.
And now, without sounding particularly bad,
Also, Barrett is the best.
without sounding particularly bad, we get on to the real game of the year.
Now, I'm going to preface this because, again, I know what these picks are.
Hashtag spoilers.
I think I have a guess.
I want I want to be prepared for shenanigans and backlash. But
can I also just pause and say the only reason that I hadn't even considered this, and as I said, I had to rework my top 3, having been informed that special guest Pete surprised me with the knowledge that I was unaware of, and therefore allowed me to get this pick in. So I can only thank him for this.
Wait.
Is yours and Pete's the same?
Special guest.
Yes,
Pete.
they are.
Oh,
Special
fuck
guest
off.
Pete.
This does not count.
Please enlighten me as to your game of.
Thank you, Pete. Thank you so much.
Taverns.
Greatly appreciated.
Every Sunday 8 p.m.
Yeah.
Terrible.
I'm not even going to
segment
get it.
but
I know what it is, and this is
Special
worse.
guest Pete,
than mine.
please.
This is
Bring
worse.
it on. Bring it on. Sharp, Ian, bring it on. Pete, bring it on.
So my game of the year was released on the Xbox on the 8th of December.
The day after.
5 days after the Xbox Tavern Game of the Year show last year. So,
And also a day after the official Game of the Year show as well, which
So
made it even more.
So this game is totally legitimate Game of the Year. And that game is just gate free. Quite
glorious.
Easily. Yeah. This game, to put it mildly, is now going to be one of my favourite games of all time. It is going to be the game of the generation. I can't really speak much. If I were to review it, it would have been a 9.9 out of 10 because nothing's ever perfect.
This man speaks nothing but truth.
You know, it's a game that you can tailor the difficulty to your needs. Just from the character creation, you can choose from 7 origin characters, including one being Dark Urge. If you want to make your own character, which of course I think you're encouraged to, there's 11 races to choose from. There's 12 with 11 races. Then you've got 12 classes to choose from. Those classes have subclasses. The cleric class then has 21 deities to choose from. And then you've got 11 backgrounds to also choose from. All these backgrounds and classes and sub-races have unique dialogue in the game. You can role play the game as much as you want and however you want it. Each boss is a challenge and unique. And, obviously this is a turn-based game. It's a game that, in terms of how you go by combat, it is kind of limited by your own kind of imagination. In terms of how you can use the environment, how you can use your skills to kind of defeat different enemies. I think Ross did it a couple of weeks ago where, side quests feel like a main quest in terms of how long they can be and how entwined they can become to the actual story. And the thing that nailed this for me in terms of being one of the best games of all time is one of the side bosses, Raphael, who's and not only does he have 666 health, but I'm running up for this boss fight because I've pissed him off. and I hear the music playing.
I haven't interrupted before this point, people. I need to, simply because I am doing everything in my power to convince Jay to play this game, and he won't fucking listen. Jay, you are an audiophile. Am I wrong in that statement?
No. I do love
the soundtrack in the House of Hope. Is it House of Hope?
Yeah.
Yes. The soundtrack in the House of Hope, Raphael's theme, is quite possibly the best piece of video game music I have ever heard. And I'm not using that as hyperbole.
I said that to Jay, and he was like, "Yeah, it's good."
It is outstanding.
So
it just blows my mind how good.
So the reason I brought up Raphael was because, and obviously the soundtrack, is because what cemented this game to me as being a masterpiece is obviously the boss music starts And I'm like, this is fucking good. And then all of a sudden I'm sitting there, I'm going, is this motherfucker singing his own theme song? He fucking is. He is.
I will jump in. I did enjoy it.
Yeah.
But obviously, I didn't have the context of what was going on.
Yeah, exactly.
So
So I said it to you about context.
More to life.
And, you know, I'm like, it's just small details where you're like, the boss singing his own soundtrack, his boss music. And it's like,
which is an awesome idea, I must admit.
It's cool.
I mean, what? I don't know if a game's ever done that before.
Nope.
I'm like, it's such a simple idea, but it
Well,
just
outside of
added to the
GLaDOS,
moment of this guy thinks he's him, right? He has main character syndrome, right? And another game he quite could have been, but he's a fucking side quest.
He is a
He's
side
in
quest.
the game a lot, right? And you know, you can make decisions in the game where you see him at the end of the game, but ultimately, you can just bypass him. You know, and if you do that, you're missing, like, obviously hours of gameplay. But it's, yeah, he's just one side quest boss that is just, like, I mean, one of the best villains of all time. Is he one of the best villains? Because, you know, he's got that devil and how they want your soul and all this, but obviously he doesn't want our soul. He wants this object that he wants you to get for him. And, yeah, I don't know what more superlatives I can use to describe this game. What I will say as well is, you know, we're in this AAA industry where everyone's, we need to charge 70, 80 quid for our games, right? Baldur's Gate, full price, costs £58, which is less than your AAA bollocks games. This game is a master game and deserves all of your attention and love. You know,
Before I jump in, Pete, we have a message in the YouTube comments that you might want to address. So I'll let you deal with it.
What's the comment? I can't see the thing.
I'm going to put it up on screen so you can address it.
Okay. Baldur's Gate 3 is... Yes, it was released in PC on 2003.
Yeah, I was thinking about this.
It was released... Well, I mean, if you want to go back to the beta was released back in 2022.
Beta doesn't count.
It was fully released. It was fully released in 2023 on PC. It was released a couple of months later in October, in September. It didn't come to Xbox until the 8th of December. 5 days after our Game of the Year show. If you want to cancel it, that's fine. I'll stop talking about it.
I can wholeheartedly say we will not stop talking about it, because as was established in the XT podcast-ish chat, any game that was released after the Game of the Year show last year was eligible for said Game of the Year award this year, which is what, when Jay brought it up to me in our other chat in regards to the boring Xbox Tavern YouTube channel, boring shit, he informed me that Pete had made a very astute observation that the game had released after said date, which would then cause me to reassess my top 3 and therefore placed Baldur's Gate at the first entry because, as Pete said, it is by far and away one of the greatest games ever made.
I'll only allow it if Voss can tell me when Hades came out.
2021.
No, it's still wrong. It's 2020.
I don't fucking know. So I would say that when we touched on Dragon's Dogma earlier, Jay, I said to you, you've basically described Elden Ring in regards to what you were saying. What I wanted to get around and saying is you've basically described a pissier version of Baldur's Gate 3. You can speak to somebody in the first area of Baldur's Gate and not complete that to like the last area of Baldur's Gate. The quests are so in depth. You have to do things through every act to progress that quest line. You can speak to everybody. There is quest lines that you pick up from the most obscure character. You speak to a giant cow in the first act.
Oh, that's JP.
Ox, I know, but I thought that was too complex for Jay to understand. You speak to him, and in the very third chapter, the last battle of the fucking campaign, he is relevant to the story. and you speak to him in like one of the first probably major locations that you find in Act 1. And he comes all the way through it. And you speak to him in Act 2, you speak to him in Act 3. So the side quests are so in depth that from Act 1 to Act 3, they progress all the way right through various different stages. Everything you've said,
obviously, I don't deny that it's a good game, and
everything you have said about Dragon's Dogma, Baldur's Gate does better. The only issue that you have with this game is the turn-based combat, and as me and Pete have went into great detail about, when you can simplify the combat to make it so that the turn-based combat is irrelevant, and you can just enjoy the storyline and the ability to explore, it is magnificent. The companions, Gale, Shadowheart, fucking Manastra,
Astarion,
Lizard, Astarion is one of the best characters. Astarion is one of the best characters ever written, with possibly one of the best voice actors ever written. What?
Is there permadeath in it? Or not?
If you want to play it on honor mode, you can have one save file that you limit yourself to basically being. You die, you go back to the start.
No,
but obviously your companions can die in battle.
Yep. If they die, they can die. Yep.
You don't have to.
Not even battle. If you fuck up certain things. So there is a bit, and it's in Act 1, so I don't give a fuck about spoilers. It's been out for a year, where Lae'zel is trapped in a cage. If you cannot pass a persuasion check, they burn the cage and Lae'zel dies. Before you are even off the Nautiloid ship, you can miss Shadowheart.
Yeah.
So you miss some of the protagonists of the main storyline.
I feel like...
don't you interrupt all your Dragon's Dogma shit. You are not worthy of this conversation.
It's exactly the kind of game I would like. And what you're saying is great. But it's not about turning turn-based combat down. It's the fact that it's turn-based combat at all.
But you can make the turn-based combat disappear. You can one-shot everybody.
I would want to do some form of combat, i.e. real-time combat, as well as doing all of the conversations.
No, I thought the same. When I first picked it up, I hated the turn-based combat. And then I thought, no, I will be a man. I will suck it the fuck up.
I'm not a man.
I will try my hardest to get over the turn-based combat. I fell in love with Lae'zel. The first time that I played the playthrough, and again, spoilers, and I don't give a fuck because it is Game of the Year. There is a certain quest line.
There's no spoil everything.
There is a certain quest line where one of your party members gets kidnapped. I didn't realize that.
They got kidnapped.
And when I lost the companion, I was fucking heartbroken. Now, she had nothing to do with romance interest or people who were in my party for every play part of the game. But when I had realized what I had done, I was fucking devastated. Because you build up such an affinity. And I'm going to go on a limb here, and everybody knows where my standpoint is on games like Fallout and Mass Effect. I have never been as invested in companions. Liara, and forgive me, God, strike me down if you need to.
In the bin.
Garrus the Carrion has not struck as much a chord with me as Karlach, Astarion, Gale. Will can get in the bin because Will's a cunt. Minthara, and Minthara is a bastard to get in your party, but it is so worth it because she has a redemption arc.
Yep.
And the redemption arc is just.
And going back to what Ian said, in my first playthrough, I killed her without knowing you can recruit her.
Yep, I did the same.
You know, in my first playthrough, right, I killed Minthara, right? I totally missed the gift crash because I didn't know how.
I didn't do that. I done the gift crash.
I missed big chunks of the game, and also, so Jade, right? So not only can you talk to everyone, if you cast a spell, you can talk to animals.
And also, if you cast another spell, you can speak to the dead.
Yes.
So you've got the living, animals, and fucking dead that you can speak to.
For all these conversations.
And when it turns,
what is the point?
when it comes to combat, Jay, you love puzzles, right? Combat is one big fuck off puzzle. How the fuck am I going to take this boss down?
Look, he's next to barrels. Maybe I can explode said barrels. Look, he's next to a cliff. Maybe I could use push, and my acrobatics scores high enough that I go, and he falls off a cliff.
And this is the point. As you said, I love puzzles.
Or better yet, even still, I might just decide, why do we need to resort to violence? Why do we not just talk it out? Why do we not be the bigger people and just talk out our problems?
The only time I've ever played it was with Graham, and he talked out. I don't remember his name.
Oh yeah,
the guy who we could have had a massive fight with, and he talked him into just giving himself in and killing everybody around him.
I can hear the song.
That was the end of it.
Yeah. You can convince him to do it.
Yep. It sounds like my ideal game, really.
It's
just
it's great. Like I say, I played a little bit of it and it was good. I could never get into it, but I might go back and play it.
But also,
my main issues that came out last year.
You are at the mercy of dice rolls.
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
So you have that.
However, if you are that way inclined, because of mods, you can set it so that you get a perfect 20 every time.
You can reload as well, can't you? If you get back.
You can reload, yes. Every time I went into a conversation, because the conversation is very good, because when you get into a conversation and it comes up intimidation, persuasion, I can't remember the other one, whatever it is.
You got deception, persuasion.
That was the other one. So when you see all those options, you can literally press start, quick save, make a quick save, attempt a dice roll, you fuck the dice roll, you reload your save. If you so choose to. If you do not want to have that, what will be will be. If you decide you want to do it, that you win every speech check, you can do.
Yeah,
but
it's a game that they've also supported throughout the year. Free updates all the way through the year.
And that was the other thing I wanted to...
There's one more big update coming next year.
Well, that's what I wanted to touch on in regards to Pete's comments in regards to playable races. Patch 8, which will be the final patch that Larian introduced, now not be the final update because the community is still releasing mods, but Larian are releasing a patch 8. There is even more classes that are getting introduced to the game. So the amount of classes that you can play is absolutely ridiculous. There is no limitation.
Monk.
You can be a drunken master monk, or you could be a spellblade.
Yeah,
something.
spellblade wizard. Yeah, spellblade.
That's wizard. What my next playthrough will be after my dirge.
And also, they're introducing crossplay.
They are introducing crossplay, so I can play on my PC. You can play on your Xbox, and Ian could play on his super fancy PS5 that he bought just for one game.
2 games now.
2 games now, exactly. But honestly, I get what you're saying about turn-based combat, and I hate turn-based combat, which is one of the reasons I haven't got into Final Fantasy because of turn-based combat. I am addicted to this game. Like, I love it in like words that cannot even begin to describe this game.
Okay, I'm going to say this. I think Pete allowed it, but Voss isn't allowed it because Voss played it on PlayStation before.
I played it on all 3. I played it on PC, Xbox, and PlayStation because
When did you first play it?
Xbox.
Okay, I'll let you.
I then spent another £70 to buy it on PS5
I don't want to get
because my PS5 was upstairs at this point. I then decided that it looked cool as fuck on PC because it's got the hotbar across the bottom, and you can either use it as a WASD or click and point. So I spent another £60 buying it on fucking PC. I've spent the best part of £200 buying this game.
And it's worth it.
That's what I wanted to do. Got what's angry.
Ding ding. That is how incredible it is. And also, before we go any further on Baldur's Gate, Mr. Rogue Company Gaming, who never usually listens to the show unless he wants to be a fucking wise ass, we are not going for a 4-hour show because the last Game of the Year show was 3 hours and 8 minutes. So we are coming in before the fucking 3-hour mark. So go fuck yourself and take your balls out your wife's purse.
Is there one more person, or was that the last one?
That was it. We were BG3 because we were correct.
The BG3 isn't just Game of the Year; it's Game of the Generation.
Yes. However, I do have to throw a caveat in because as we are the all-knowing powers of everything gaming related, and Jeff Keighley knows fuck all, having looked back at the lists, we have to say that the game of the year for 2024, as unpopular as this may be, is Dragon Age Veilguard.
What?
Because if we look back at the analogy, in my list, BG3 was featured. In Pete's list, BG3 was mentioned. And in Gray's list, it was featured. Apart from Indiana Jones, that is the only game that has been featured in 3 people's game of the year. So by the logic,
onto mine, but I didn't realise it wouldn't include it because I thought it was released in 2023. So
it was released in 2023.
One as well.
Well,
I am going to find this message.
Is also BG3. Graham, what did you give it? 9 points. What did you give it? 9.6 out of 10. You gave it a 10. See, Graham gave it a 10.
Yeah, but Graham knows sense and he get you to 2023.
We had this discussion offline. We don't need to get into it now. But the point is, it counts, and Baldur's Gate 3 is.
I would say it's less controversial than DLC.
As far as we're concerned, I did warn you that it would be shenanigans. But if realistically, if we're talking about it, Dragon's Dogma 2 wins because I said so. So fuck you all. So anyway,
the reality is, my top 2 games weren't even Xbox. I can't really talk.
Exactly. So basically, none of this counts for shit. We're all fucking a bunch of cunts. Let's move on and play more games in 2020.
I would just like to put this up on screen. I don't know if I can zoom in on this, but I will try. I can, so I am going to. So consensus on this, as we can see, is to zoom in further on the screen. I don't think I can go any further. So what's the criteria? Does it have to be released this year, or can it be any game we've played this year? As we can see in said message here, need consensus on this. Games released after last year's show. Now, as we look further down, I'll defer to the group, but I have no issues with older games on here as long as it's something you've played significantly this year. Again, I am looking further down. Nobody objected to Pete's statement of games released after this year's show. And because Baldur's Gate 3 on Xbox released after last year's show, go fuck yourselves.
Also, World of Warcraft
I wasn't arguing
initially
against
released
it. I
in
still would have made my list if I'd known.
Yeah, but Ian was. Ian was being that guy.
Being the
Hey,
snarky
our game's a year old. Ian's number 2 is 20 years old, so I don't know what you're chatting about.
It's also not an Xbox game, so go fuck yourself.
And my other one's a remake.
Exactly. Of a non-Xbox game.
We are trash.
Basically, all of this is worth
There's
fucking nothing, and we've all had a great time. We've talked about the games we enjoyed. We've all had a great time playing video games this year. Hopefully, we'll have a wonderful year.
Please play Baldur's Gate.
I will not play Baldur's Gate. I will try and finish Infinite Well first. But now, I feel like we've gone long enough. I've enjoyed this year's Game of the Year awards. It was tremendous.
It has been.
Everybody had a lot of picks that I expected, and a lot of picks I didn't expect.
Ian's came out of left field. A lot of Ian's was out of left field.
Ian's come out of left field. I feel like Graham was probably the most predictable, but
all RPGs
picks because they were all 1,000-hour RPGs that he decided to play at the same time. So he didn't.
I will simply ask the question: obviously, based on conversation, did anybody expect me not to have Shadow of the Eldrazi as number 1?
I thought it was going to be that.
I thought it was going to be Shadow of
the Eldrazi. The thing is, it was number 1 up until. Hold on, let me just exactly
6 hours ago.
6 hours ago.
I didn't want to say my strategy because otherwise I would have given my number 1 game away, like really obviously. So I was like,
up until 1:33 this afternoon, that was my number 1. Until what's Jay texts me saying, "This is Pete's list, by the way," and I was like, "Oh, didn't think Baldur's Gate 3 was getting in." To which he replied, "He reckons it came out after our last show. I did warn him to prepare for some backlash, LOL." And I was like, technically he is right, which now fucks my order. So up until about 8 hours ago, it was Shadow of the Eldrazi, and then Pete threw me a curveball, and I was like, "Shit, I need to put Baldur's Gate as number 1."
And I warned you about the backlash, and we got it.
And Ian was all too happy to provide.
What game do you have in the top 3?
What would have replaced it in the top 3?
Yeah.
I would have probably squeezed India and came up with an honourable mention.
There we go.
We've done it. Baby. We've We've got some great games. Go check them out if you haven't played them already. Especially Dragon's Dogma 2, because that is obviously the
Especially Baldur's Gate 3, because, you know, it
real
is
winner.
Game of the Year.
That's
What
the
did
youngest,
What did Dragon's Dogma 2 win in regards to the awards? Did it win
in
anything?
terms of the Pretend Game Awards from Jeff Keighley.
All right, what won the 2023 Game of the Year?
Wait,
Remind me?
wait, yeah.
Ross, why would you say that?
What did win the 2023 Game of the Year? You tell me, Ross.
Oh dear. Anyway, right, that's enough of this shit show. We've
Was it
had enough
Hades?
arguments.
Hades came out in 2023,
Move on
didn't
from
it?
this bullshit. Right, everybody, it's been a pleasure. I've had a great time. I've enjoyed this year's Game of the Year awards because we've had a vastly contrasting choice pick. Apart from
No, we haven't. We've had RPGs galore.
perhaps, yeah, but we've all picked generally.
All
different
in Greys was RPGs.
but
One of Pete's was technically one plus his honourable mention. 2 of yours was RPGs. One of Ian's honourable mentions was an RPG, and 4 of mine was RPGs. So basically, it was RPG of the year.
RPG Central, except they're all different RPGs.
Technically,
for the most part.
MMORPG.
Yeah.
MMORPG, exactly. There we go.
Yes. Anyway, I've had a great time. I've enjoyed your suggestions. I will attempt to play.
No, you won't.
Oh, I,
Don't-
no,
Don't kid yourself.
Don't fucking lie to us, Jay.
I'm going to play. Some
Don't
new
build
video
our
games.
hopes up like that.
Right, yes, I'm not going backwards. I'm going forwards, baby. Forwards into 2025. Right. Next week we'll be back for Xbox Taverns.
Our last episode of the year.
173rd at 8 p.m. For the Christmas episode where we talk about the year in general, the games we've been playing, etc., etc. None of this fucking game of the year bullshit. But let's move on with positivity and excitement for the year ahead, as well as
Our positivity.
Hashtag be nice, cunts.
Hashtag be nice, you cunts. For now, I've been Jamie. You can find me at Inaxan. You can tell me how wrong I am for picking Dragon's Dogma 2 if you so wish on Twitter, wherever else you want to find me. You can find Graham.
At Graham Reaper.
Ross.
At Scottish Gruff, where you can come and tell me what your Tav character may be.
What's your Pete?
At Borders, at Peter Kinench, sorry.
And finally, 1.97 million man Ian.
You can find me at Nutterware, where you can shout abuse me for picking 2 games that are not Xbox.
Hashtag
Dan.
Montara is B.
Right.
Or
Hashtag
Carla.
like year Frontier.
Make
now-
suits for the win.
It's been a pleasure. We'll see you next week. Goodbye.
Bye.
Fuck you, Dan.
Ooh.
Hey, fuck you, Dan.